Warning: the opinions expressed on this particular podcast are the opinions of the hosts and the guests alone. They do not represent the Army, the police, or anything else. Simply our opinions, no one else's. Thank you and enjoy before I forget.
Hey, Tyree.
Hey, what's up?
You have a podcast, right?
Yeah, I have a podcast. It's called Before I Forget. It's on every Monday and Thursday morning.
Did you know about Anchor?
Yeah, I know about Anchor. That's what we use to distribute our podcast.
Did you know that it has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer?
Yeah, I knew about all that stuff, and we use it every single time for every single show for editing, right on our phone and right from our computer.
Did you know you can distribute your podcast on different listening platforms?
Yeah, we knew about that. We use Anchor to distribute our podcast to Apple Music, Spotify, and tons of other different platforms everywhere across the world.
Did you know that Anchor is free?
I knew it was free because if I had to pay to use stuff, I wouldn't use it.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Before I Forget. This is Tyree. Gonna clue you in on a little bit about what we have going on. This episode we have Sargent Major Rob Absher. He's in the Army. He's in charge of stuff. We're gonna have a conversation with him about Army life, when he came to our unit, our deployment to Iraq, things like that. You know, family life while being deployed, while being in charge of an entire staff. This is what we're going to have a conversation with him about. We have some technical difficulties with Anchor, but we're going to try to fix it with my slick edits. Apparently, the name of this episode is called Bingo, and I was told that it had to be called Bingo. Those inside jokes. Enjoy.
Hey.
Hey, you got me?
Yeah, I got you. What's going on, man?
Awesome. Hey, man. Great to hear your voice.
Yeah, it's good to hear you too.
Long time.
I know it's been
20 years,
some
I don't
decades,
know.
some
Yeah.
decades and shit.
Oh, man. Wild.
Yeah, we're just waiting on Kevin.
Okay.
Don't worry about all this shit. We'll edit this out.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah.
Damn.
What you been up to? Well, we won't even get into any questions, but yeah, it's been a long ass time.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, like listening to the podcast on my way to work this morning. It's like just hearing y'all's voices, man. Dude, it's just, I don't know. Too long,
Yeah.
I guess.
Hey,
There's Kevin.
howdy.
What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, your audio sounds really good. We need to tell people to do whatever the fuck you're doing.
That's my AirPod things, the plug-in AirPods.
Okay.
Yeah, the wired fucking ones that come with an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm using. Yeah, man. Tyree, get on the ball. Do you stop buying shit off of Amazon?
First of all, I'm trying to find the shit. It's somewhere in my house. I gotta fucking find them. Second of all,
You said Anthony fucking destroyed them.
well, there's multiple pairs. Anyway, hey everybody, this is Before I Forget, our podcast where we just talk about shit, stories, and we have a special guest today. Special guest today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. My name's Rob Absher. I deployed with Kevin and Tyree about, I mean, we were talking before this started, almost a decade and a half ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah, man. Like 16 years ago.
Yeah. Feels like it's been that long since I heard you guys' voice, too. This is awesome.
You know, it's crazy that you say that because it has been that long since I've heard your voice, but like it sounds exactly as I remember it.
I hope that's a good thing.
No, it really is, man. But I mean, and I know that sounds creepy. Like I sit there and lay in my bed and like think about like,
You do.
I do.
Don't even front like
You're
you
right.
don't. Like you're bullshitting. Like we know.
I told you that in confidence, man.
I know, but I just want you to remember.
Oh, okay. Before I forget. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's good to know I'm still in your fantasy files, man.
Oh yeah, dude. First folder to go to.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Called
For
Old
now.
Trusty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway. So
Anyway.
the way the time goes on these shows, it gets ate up quick. So we're gonna get right into it.
Okay.
What did you do before you joined the military?
Oh man, a whole lot of nothing. I think like most kids that join the Army, I was a student in high school. Graduated. I did some like really shitty retail work. I kind of hit the wall of I could either continue on with college, or I could get a real job. And then I had a couple of friends that were joining the Army. Hitched on with them. Went to a recruiter's office one day. Kind of heard the spiel, and then like on prom night, one thing led to another, and I ended up down in Fort Benning.
Why'd you go infantry?
Why did I go infantry? Man, so like I said, I went to the recruiter's office with a couple of their friends, one in particular who was just a super good friend of mine. And we thought, like, yeah, we'll go on the buddy program. And, for anybody that's familiar with that program, you go, you take the required tests for the Army, and you go sit in front of a career counselor. And the lady pulled me to the side and said, hey, your friend didn't test as high as you did. He only qualifies for a certain amount of jobs. And he's, I know you guys talk infantry, but you can get some other ones. And I be honest, at the time I was pretty dumb and young, and I thought the Army was the Army. You got a gun, you did outside stuff, and that was it. I didn't know, that like being a medic or, an intel guy was different than anything else. So I was like, nah, I just want to join the Army. I don't really care what I do, and I want to be with my buddy. So again, one thing led to another. We both, picked infantry and ended up at Fort Benning, got off the bus and got separated and didn't see each other again for another like 3 years. So
That's crazy. Hey,
product of the environment.
I'm not trying to laugh at you, but I'm like, damn, that's fucking crazy. Y'all walked in there and was like, fucking, we're both gonna be infantry. Yeah. Ride, brother. Hell yeah. Y'all just fucking went for it. And immediately separated like a fucked up family.
Yeah, right. What year did you come in?
I joined in the summer of 1999.
Oh. So you're kind of old as shit.
Yeah, I'm definitely old as shit. Got the gray hairs to prove it.
No, that's another thing, man. Like God, this really sounds like I'm like fantasizing over you, but like you don't look like you've changed at all. Like you look like I see your pictures on Facebook and stuff, man.
Yeah.
You look exactly like how I remember you, but like now, like with more responsibility.
So I tell you, when I don't know if you remember how much alcohol we consumed in Germany, but I think that preserved me a little bit. Like
yeah.
Like I don't know if there was formaldehyde coming out of the vodka Red Bull at the Rock Fabrique, but
probably,
I think it preserved me a little bit. Yeah.
It was. So
I'm sure there's some science there.
Yeah. You have a bunch of history or prior knowledge about how the military was before 9/11.
I do.
What was your position in the military at that time?
So, I mean, man, it was like a light switch. When 9/11 hit and we started going to war, the Army completely changed. Before 9/11, the Army was, we were a garrison Army. We were doing the training. We were doing, a lot of like go to war tasks. But for a younger guy like me at the time, I was a rifleman and a radio operator. It kind of seemed fruitless. And then, like I said, that light switch happened, and it changed my perspective on the Army. Totally. I think probably even up to before we went to Samara, I was ready to get out. I did my time. I kind of got to see the world a little bit, but getting that taste of doing the job really got its hooks into me, and I developed that brotherhood network with guys like you two and everyone else along the way. So I guess kind of beating around the bush to answer your question. I didn't like pre 9/11 Army, and then it just got better. I feel like we have more of a purpose. Not that we didn't have a purpose before, but there was a kind of a tangible goal for all the training that we were doing.
So, with that being said, then I know, like, we're not officially in any country or whatever, like we're operating in places, but like small scale stuff or, support stuff or, your special operators doing things, whatever. But like, I mean, how does that play into that now? I mean, do you feel like we're kind of reverting back to that like pre-war, that garrison army in a way?
So, okay, first, before I go on any further, I got to kind of caveat everything with this. These are just my views. I'm not speaking for the Department of Defense or anything like that.
Right.
But, I'll be honest, man, that's one of my fears is that, we can potentially go back to that pre 9/11 army, where instead of having, like paratroopers, we have paratroopers. But I think, we have a lot of lessons learned over the past, 20 years of war to where, hopefully someone's filing that stuff somewhere. We have the technology available to, capture our lessons learned from previous stuff, to where we hopefully don't go back to that. And I think, at the end of the day, we have a smarter army now than when I joined, just based off the soldiers we have. I mean, dudes are smarter.
Yeah.
They
really are. Yeah.
I look. I mean, you're doing the drill sergeants thing. You see the young kids that come in. It's like, man, you guys are way more put together than I was when I was a kid. So,
it's wild to me, man. Like they definitely ask way more questions than I ever would have thought to ask.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that you can chalk that up to, basic training being a bit more lax than it was, or that's just these kids and that's just their mindset.
Yeah.
But you definitely got to appreciate it, man. I mean, it's because you think when they get to their unit, right, they're going to want to know what's going on. They're going to want to be in the loop, and all that's going to do is, assuming that they have good leadership, it's going to help them have a better view of the full picture. Which, like you said, that's a smarter soldier. They understand what's going on outside of their realm. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you look at it, like, the way information flows now, as opposed to, when we were younger as soldiers, I mean, a kid gets, information. It's not like he's sitting around waiting for the word at 4 o'clock, at 5 o'clock in the evening. Like, they know it instantaneously through either social media pages or, web app calendars or, name your flavor of information flow. Like, they're getting the information faster and they're processing it faster. I mean, it's just, I'm jealous. I guess.
Yeah. In the meantime, over there in the reserves, we can't even figure out how to do damn ratings and crap.
Jesus. Yeah, right. The reserves is it's a whole different animal, man.
I know, but you guys make this active duty shit sound sharp as hell, man. Hell yeah, I could tablet my way through some shit.
We have our shortfalls too, man. Don't get it twisted. We're still out there, stumbling through things every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, you got give credit to the reserves and guard where you can, man. It's not like they do it all the time. I mean, I will say there are some jobs that are in the reserves and guard that, like, I mean, the MOS that those people serve in, they more than likely do those jobs on the civilian side, which is just going to make them more proficient in those particular tasks. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, when it comes to, like, writing an NCOER.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
It's like the old Apple commercial. There's an app for that. There's an app for everything now.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, so 9/11 hits or happens, and where were you stationed at the time?
Oh man, this is a cool story. I was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. That was my first duty assignment. And the day of September 11th, that morning, a couple months previous to that, I got in some trouble. On the military and civilian side. And I think I know this. Yeah, I was underage drinking, minor in possession, and using a fake ID. And I got in trouble on the military side and civilian side. But that particular morning, September 11th, I was in the Cumberland County Courthouse, standing in front of a judge to, get my slap on the wrist, essentially, for being a drunken paratrooper in Fayetteville. And it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting there waiting, and this guy comes in and, taps the judge on the shoulder, and, everything gets quiet. He bangs his gavel and he says, "Hey, look, there was an attack up in New York. We don't have a whole lot of details, but it looks like terrorism. So, every government building in the United States is shutting down right now to include this one. So everyone's going to get a, continuance to a later date. So, see the clerk or whoever on your way out, and, good luck." As I'm going to leave, he points at me because I was in uniform, because, Big Sarge, whoever it was, that was in charge of me, told me, "Hey, if you're going to court, you're going to wear your Class A's." He pointed at me, said, "Hey, come here." And I walked over and I was like, yes, sir. And he said, hey, look, you're in the military. He goes, I'm guessing, based off of what happened this morning, you're probably going to be busy for the next few months. So, he gave me a fine. I think it was like a little over $100. He said, pay the clerk on your way out and, good luck. And I look back on that, when I tell that story, it's like, you're going to be busy for the next few months. Like, man, 2 decades later.
20 years later.
Still consuming my life to this day. So, everybody asked me what I was doing on September 11th. I have a really easy way of remembering it. So
yeah, that is pretty wild, man. I was just gonna say, yeah, I mean, like busy for the next few months, 20 years later, what's the difference? What I mean?
my entire adult life.
Yeah. Entire livelihood, everything that you're not gonna get in the bank. Anyway. So man, we continue on with where do you go from your first duty station?
So I left Bragg and I ended up in Schweinfurt with you guys. And I got there where you guys were in Kosovo.
Hey.
So I got there with all the new guys, the Mike Stampers, the Eric Hiles, all those kids that were back there that you guys were going to haze when you got home from, or not haze, not haze.
Nope,
we don't haze. We integrate. You were probably going to integrate into the platoon when, upon returning from, the good fight there in Kosovo. And I remember standing there and you guys getting back. And I think it was like Josh Dool or someone yelling at me. And I was like, whoa. Hey, I've been in the Army for a while. You guys are all war heroes. In Kosovo.
You came to us. You were still
Kosovo war heroes.
Yeah. Hey, we qualified for the VFW after that, man. We were veterans of foreign wars for some reason.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, right. You were what rank were you?
I had with all my pins on.
I was a pretty new specialist. I think I'd been in the Army for like a couple of years at that point, but I was a new specialist.
So, and I kind of wonder. So, like when you came down on orders to come to Germany, did you know we were a mechanized unit?
I did, and I was excited about it. Not so much as the mechanized portion of it. I mean, I was young, and I just wanted to see the world. I think that's why most people our age joined the Army at that point. So when I found out I was going to Germany, I was like, heck yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't really care about the mech or light or anything.
Right.
And I tell you, I got everything I wanted out of that assignment.
Yeah, man. That was, obviously that was my first and really only active duty station. But yeah, man, it's fucking great over there. I know we've talked about in previous episodes and all that, but like, I really can't talk about it enough. Like, I don't know if I got lucky with that being my only active duty post. Because it really was such a great unit, man. Like, I feel like 126 was really kind of a cut above the rest. But again, limited knowledge. But like moving throughout your career, like, how does 126 kind of hold up?
So I've got two ways of explaining that. The first one is, in our Class A's, ASUs, whatever you want to call the dress uniform that we have, you can wear a DUI or your regimental affiliation. I still wear a 126. And really? I don't know how many times I've had that on with all the cool units that I've been in, where I have someone come up to me and they'll point it and be like, "Oh man, you were a blue Spader." And I don't know if you remember the joke, like the Spader communicator, like the earplug thing we used to have to wear.
Yeah.
It really does. I can't tell you how many like old guys, young guys, because that unit's gone from Germany to Riley to Hood to, it's a Campbell now. But the other half of that is, all the young soldiers I've gotten from being a squad leader all the way up to a sergeant major now. These kids are like, I'm done with the Army. I don't like it. And I always tell them, man, go to Europe. Take 2 years of your life, go to Europe, go to Italy, go to Germany, and just try it out, man. It's something you got to experience. For the culture, the camaraderie, seeing the world. It was just a great assignment for me. Granted, I guess, no one's going to get to be a blue Spader over there, but
right.
Just seeing the world.
Mm-hmm. That is one thing though, man. Like, you see all these different unit crests but like 126's crest, like it stands out. Like, a blue Spader crest when you see it, because it's a blue fucking spade on a white shield. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely very identifiable. But people also know.
Yep.
And
I have 126 plates in my truck, or I used to. I'm gonna put them back on there. But I drive around and people would not flag me down, but like point out their windows like and mimic 126 with their fingers, like let me know like, oh, that's fucking cool. Like they know what that is.
Yeah.
And they give a shit. That's dope. I love that.
Yeah. That is cool, man.
Yeah.
So and you say like all the like the DUIs, the distinguished unit insignia. So you still wear the blue Spader crest, but like you're probably at this point authorized to wear a couple more, right?
I am. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in a handful of units in the Army, but I would say like, a little bit of the combat experience with 126, a little bit, the camaraderie. It's like the dudes, man. Like,
Yeah.
I think I had probably, of all the assignments I've had, I had the most fun there. And I think probably what molded me, and steered me in the direction that I am in the Army today was just, not only the dudes that we served with, but we had some pretty good leaders. I mean, if you look at the first sergeant we had at that company, he's the daggum ForceCom CSM right now. So,
Oh, I know. Crazy, right?
Like wild. I ran into him a few, well, I guess almost a year now in Bliss, and it was like, gosh, you talk about making it. It's like you and the Sergeant Major of the Army, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got lucky.
Mind blowing how dope of a leadership like up and down the line that we had. Like that's not anything. That's not a special story. We have a few sergeant majors. We have a few people who climb that rank, and that's awesome.
Yeah, we had one of our PLs is a battalion commander now. Well, he just finished being a battalion commander with Lieutenant Gunther. I mean, it was just a cool crop of dudes.
It's I watched. They had a video of his change of command ceremony, and I watched it because, I mean, that's the old PL. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you where I talked about him, but like I had reservations about him when we first got him. I was like, this guy, he looked kind of dopey. He was very, very quiet. And when he did speak, he was very soft spoken. He came from the medical corps.
Yeah.
But like
everything about him, you were like, oh gosh.
Yeah. He always carried this holy water.
Yeah, but he proved himself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he was like such a dominant guy. And I think when we were out doing the shit, man, he was there doing the shit with us. And you got to respect that, man. And
I feel like he walked away from that deployment with a silver star, didn't he?
Yeah, for that thing at the compound.
Crazy.
Fucking warrior, this guy. Yeah. Nobody knew it. Nobody knew it. He just had to turn it on.
They sneak up on you.
Yeah. He's definitely that guy. You look at like his like a passport photo, you're like, who is this dorky guy? Yeah. But like he's a badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking warrior. Yeah. Fucking blue spaders on his fucking chest. It's hard.
There it is.
Yeah.
It's attached to it.
Yeah. Hey, we also had that guy.
General Grigsby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all hear that, General? I mean, it went down.
Well,
funny, but it did. Whatever.
Is that
General? Whatever.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can't win them all.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, but it was up there.
Is he retired now? I think he's
sure. I'm sure he is.
Yeah. I just can't remember if he because he was a brigadier, wasn't he, at the time of his situation?
I don't know about that. I'm saying like back when he was a damn lieutenant colonel with the 126, he was a special dude. He'd show up to Rangers all pumped.
Yeah, he was
clanking them coins in his pocket, just waiting for you to do something blue spader like, and he just throwing those damn coins out like ninja stars, man.
Dude,
it was awesome.
Dude, the retrans site up in Kosovo, man. We were up there, me, Billy Jack, and Bagnall, and I can't remember who else, but like he comes up there, man. He goes like, I want to go see the boys up at the retrans site. And he comes up there, man, and he pulls out this bag of Red Man. And just grabs a fistful of it. And, he's a little guy. So, like, a fistful for him, it's like, not a lot. But, like, it's still – and he shoves the whole thing in his mouth, man. And it was like a golf ball inside of his cheek. I swear to God. He had, like, brown drool coming down his chin. And he was just like, hell yeah, I'm with the boys. You know what I mean? It was like he was eating it up, man. He was loving it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he missed those days or something.
Yeah, I think he just loved the fuck out of the troops, the guys out there doing the dumb shit.
Yeah,
he's a cool dude, and it was interesting to work under him because, like I said, anytime you're doing anything at a range, and it was cool to him, he passes out those coins like it was nothing. Have you guys ever happened to see him at a bar? You ever get challenged?
No, I never got a coin.
Oh man, I got a coin. I don't know what the hell I did with it. If you're listening and you have your hands on a damn blue spader coin, send me one.
You need, dude. I've got one.
You got one?
I think I have two of them actually.
Do you have the
if
ones
you got
from
extra.
Iraq? The ones with Iraq on them?
I have. I was going through my coins the other day. I have a Bravo Company one.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like the minaret on it, the Samara minaret.
I don't have that one.
Yeah, we all got them, didn't we?
No, I didn't. Man, shit, I didn't get nothing, man.
Well,
I barely got my Archon.
well,
No, I got one. I'm trying to find it right now, actually. Yeah, so the one I have has a Bushmasters Bravo Company has a snake on it, and the other side has like the outline.
I don't know. I gotta go through mine again.
It was probably something you got in Kosovo.
No, it was. I mean, the outline of Iraq. Well, I don't know. I would have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got that in Kosovo.
Yeah, you wouldn't have. But
I did get one in Kosovo from the first ID commander, General Batiste. He gave it to us after we took him on a patrol in Zegra, and then dumbass Private Me fucking lost it like the next day. So it's somewhere in Kosovo.
That's my life story, man. I had so many coins, and I just kind of lost them. I'm like, damn, if I can give those off to my boy, that'd be awesome. But your dumbass daddy screwed it up.
I never knew what to do with my coins, and up until about a year ago, I had like canteen cups, the old canteen cups.
Mm-hmm.
I had two of them that were just full of coins that I've gotten over the past 2 decades. And my wife got on to me. She's like, these are like these are important. These are a big deal. People have given them to you. You got to do something with them. And I kicked it around for a while. I ended up getting one of those like American flags that you put your coins in,
like a shadow box or something.
Kind of sort of thing. Now I feel like an adult, instead of like a shitty E4 that gets paid a whole bunch of money with my, just throw them in this canteen cup.
Yeah.
No, I did the same thing with mine. When I bought my house a year and a half ago, I bought one of those little boxes, and it's up on the wall. I just had my 20-year high school reunion not too long ago, and one of the guys that I graduated high school with, he's a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. He's the squadron commander over at Tinker Air Force Base in the security forces. And he gave me one of his coins, and that was pretty fucking cool, man. That's definitely in the box. Yeah. What are your coins like?
Mine?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the Security Forces System Brigade up in JB. And I feel like the Army's gotten to the point where we try to outdo each other. So I don't know if you remember the blue spader coins, it was like a round coin. Ours are these huge, like, I couldn't even describe it. It's the size of my hand almost. I'll tell you what, if you guys shoot me a text of your address, I'll send you guys one just for having me on something that's on iTunes.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I'll put it in my, actually, if yours is as big as you're saying it is, it probably won't fit in my box. Ugh.
They're ridiculous, man. It's like everything else in life, everyone's got to outdo everybody else.
Yeah. No, my company now, my first aren't had coins made. They're bottle openers, you know what I mean? They're
As usual, technical difficulties stop this awesome conversation about Kevin trying to stick coins in his box. We're gonna come right back.
Man, sorry about that.
Did you hit the button?
Phone call. No, it was a random phone call.
Hey, sorry.
Hey.
Welcome back. Sorry about that. Random phone call came through. Anyway, coins.
Yeah. So no, it's a big one too. It's like the size of my palm, and it's it's black. It's a bottle opener. They're numbered. You know what I mean? It's a pretty cool coin, but it doesn't fit in my my coin case.
Yeah. Your coin case.
Yeah. Well, it's better than it doesn't. It's so big it doesn't fit in my box. I mean, take that how you want.
I keep my coins in a plastic bag.
You don't keep them at USAA in a safety deposit box now that you're all connected with them, man?
I should. 100%. I should. I should go in there and be like, hey, man, I got these coins jangling in my pocket.
It was your commercial was USAA, right?
Oh, the commercial was it's just Army.
It was Army?
Commercial.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know what it was like. Was it the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it aired during the Super Bowl one year. I want to say 2009, 2010, somewhere in there.
I don't remember where I was, but I remember I was like away from my family watching with a group of guys, and we were watching the Super Bowl, and that commercial came on. I was like, holy crap, I know that guy. And everyone was like, no, you don't. And I had to like break out my phone and like pull your Facebook up, and it's like, it's this guy here. So wow, I was like, yeah, man, it's Tyree Brown. I think I told a bunch of stories about, you calling yourself the conquistador and all that stuff.
I forgot about that, man. Oh man,
how could you forget about the conquistador? I'm offended
because you haven't said it in so long. I don't know,
man. We're gonna have to get into that. Garrison life in Germany.
That's 03.
Oh man.
In 03, yeah. 2003 was a very special year for Blue Spaders in general because
it was a special a year for the people of Schweinfurt.
Yeah. Because we were stuck kind of in limbo when it came down to deploying to Iraq from Turkey. That got shut down. So we were just sitting there in Germany living out of a box. So those of us who were living in the barracks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like there was a time where like it was miserable, right? We thought we were deploying. Wasn't there a block of time where we couldn't drink or anything as well?
Yeah.
And that was
so
tough.
We drank a lot.
Yeah. But man, 2003, I always joke around. I feel like that year was a blur because I'm going to war. I'm not going to war. And then like once we found out we weren't going for the initial, but we were going to go later, it was just like, man, we got to party as much as we can.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. For me, that was a rough year. I mean, that's when I met the Wohler twins. Just got involved in every.
I like how you say like it was a rough year. That's when I met the Wohler twins.
It was
correlation.
We found each other, and
Same, man. I thought you was gonna say like, man, my dog got shot, but no, I met the Wohler twins.
I got flat tires every Friday on the way home.
Oh yeah, I feel like that year took like later years off my life of just hey, let's go out on Wednesday. Yeah, drink till 5 a.m. and get up and go do whatever we're gonna do the next day. Like, it was an unhealthy but like awesome year.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a meme that's going around, right? Like, I've seen it going around a couple times, but it's soldiers like doing something active, like ruck marching or fucking in the field or some shit. And it's like we were the most physically fit, like drunks ever or whatever. You know what I mean?
I think it was the last episode you guys talked about Sergeant Major Beam. Guy's a national treasure, should be in a museum somewhere. But
absolutely,
doing like PT as we were running by, or I can't remember the story, but as a sergeant major now, like I'm sure I do something that kids see that they're like, oh man, he's doing something crazy, and it's not. It's like it's super painful because I'm 41 years old. And, I don't want to look terrible, but for me, it's impressive to look at a formation of guys running, knowing that, man, you guys were out partying and drinking all night last night. You're still out here getting after it. So
man, I've never even thought about that. I mean, you got to think. When I made any kind of rank and had any kind of positional authority or whatever, like it's been in the reserves as a drill sergeant, so I only deal with like trainees. You know what I mean? And they're not out drinking the night before, more than likely.
Hopefully,
So I'm not looking at a formation of semi-drunk dudes or hungover dudes, like ready to do PT. So that's got to be. I mean, that from being on the one side, and I know how. You were with the Wohlers, and I know how we all were back in 03 and during that time frame. So now to be at the level that you're at today, looking back on that, and then like you said, looking at your formation, being like, damn, man, like how the fuck is it even possible?
Right? And I like I feel
that is genuine enthusiasm and shock when you say right. Did you hear that? Like, really?
It's funny, awesome. Man. It makes you empathetic. And I'll tell you a story. Man, it was when I was a first sergeant at Bragg. I was walking into a building with one of the guys from my company, and out coming from the building was Command Sergeant Major Herb Gill. And I had seen him. I knew he was on Bragg, and we hadn't connected at any point. And we both just looked at each other and I was like, holy shit. And, I got this kid from my company. He's there telling, whatever story he was telling about, me being a drunk dirtbag specialist. And we walk into the building after we're done talking to him, and I look over at the guy that was walking in with me, and I'm like, we all come from somewhere, right? One day, you'll get in trouble, you'll get away from it, and you'll be whatever. But yeah, we all come from somewhere, and it's what makes us who we are.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, that's awesome, and I bet you that young soldier was like, "Damn, man, I got the inside scoop on First Sergeant Absher."
Oh man,
I'll go back and tell the boys. But I mean, it kind of makes you wonder, right? So we look back at like I look especially like let's say First Sergeant Salinas or even Sergeant Major Sims. I mean, like once upon a time they came from somewhere. They were private at one point in time, and you know damn well First Sergeant Salinas was a troublemaker.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think he was still a troublemaker when he was with us. Hell.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could just imagine him as an experienced specialist, or a young E5.
Yeah.
Just no fucks to give. Oh. Bet you that guy was wild back in the day.
Yeah.
But it is kind of interesting to look at it that way. I mean, and you kind of hear that on the trail when it comes to soldiers. You know what I mean? Like they talk about like drill sergeant, you eat. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just a thing. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, duh, I fucking eat. Like, well, we thought you guys were like machines or something. Like, no, we're not machines. Like, we just wear dumb hats.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm just like you, motherfucker. Yeah. Just fucking way better.
Just way better. No, actually, that's one of the speeches that I give them. Is like the only difference between me and you is that I've been in the Army long enough to be where I am, and you just joined. That's the only differences. And I think it's important for young soldiers to kind of understand that because it's one thing that I tell them is like you look at like every Medal of Honor recipient in the Army. At least all the enlisted ones. I can't really speak for any officer ones, but like special operators on the enlisted side, whatever. They all went through a drill sergeant. They all started somewhere. They were all a private at one point, or an E3 or E4 or whatever. They all started somewhere, and probably in some cases pretty recklessly, and then ended up being in these like pretty special places.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely, I think, a really good thing for young soldiers to remember and keep in mind.
Hell yeah. You ain't got to win no Medal of Honor to be special or be awarded the Medal of Honor, or however presented, wherever the hell we came to the conclusion of. Yeah, but you can still goddamn be a Sergeant Major of some shit, which would be mind-blowing to me because that's fucking crazy. Anyway, here we are. We're loaded up into, we're going to Iraq now.
Okay.
What was going through your mind at the time of, at the time, I believe, were you married at that point?
Kind of. I mean, we'd separated and we knew we were getting divorced. So it was just kind of a.
Oh, so that was done.
That was done. Yeah. I was, I honestly, I think the deployment was really great for me because I was like, I'm done with that. I can move on to, kind of something else. But, my mentality of it, I'm not going to lie. I was a little nervous. I didn't join the Army to go to war. I joined the Army during the peacetime, and I was like, shit, I just wanted college money and, kind of get out. Here I was. And I think I got promoted to sergeant like right before we left. So not only was like, I'm going to war, but I'm going to be in charge of some folks, which was, kind of even scarier. But again, man, I look back and we had such a great group of dudes. It just, that part of it didn't affect me because I had the confidence in the bros that I was going over there with.
Yeah, shout out to your squad.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah.
Shout out to your squad. Who was in your squad at the time? Who was in your team? My bad.
My squad leader was Sergeant Winchester.
All right.
And I had Eric Heil, Mike Stamper, and Bo Zill. I feel like
shape up himself.
Shape up himself, yep.
Oh, man. I love that kid. Yeah. Man,
that's a wild squad. That's a good ass squad right there, man.
I mean, Stamper. Like, I mean, we got to bring him on, man. I like listening to him talk.
He shoots me messages all the time and listens. He loves it. I'm trying to get him on too.
Just the coolest guy, man. Just the coolest guy. He was one of the first guys I met when I got to Germany. There was a bunch of new guys that had gotten there, and I just remember sitting and talking and going out and. I think our first night going out, we went to the Rock Fabrique, and I saw him dancing to it's like Michael Jackson Thriller or something. I was oh man, there is something wrong with this dude, and it's awesome.
Man, I guess he and his wife just went to New York City, and in my head, I can't wrap my brain around that because Stamper, you know, I mean, you remember how he talked. You know, he's from Georgia, like deep Georgia. I can't imagine a guy like him doing any kind of walking around talking to folks in New York City, man. That's got to be a culture shock for everybody.
With a camera and I try to get some money off that because that would be hilarious as hell.
Oh,
I love it. I will watch it.
Yeah.
Both of their accents are so awesome.
Yeah.
Their kids are great too. Their kids are awesome. I love that family.
Yeah. So when we were in Iraq, though, you roomed with one of the Wallers, didn't you?
Yeah, me, Matt, and Coy Tinsley, and Jason King. We all lived together.
Oh, Coy Toy.
That is a wild
boy toy Coy.
Room of folks. Turd Ferguson and King in the same room.
I know, man. That's a wild bunch too. He's a first sergeant now, right?
He retired a few years ago, man. He ended up getting out.
Okay.
Yeah, he took the smart way out. But man, I loved him to death. He was just always such a positive guy. I don't think I ever saw him without a smile on his face. You know,
even when he was mad. Yeah,
he was always one of those guys. Like, you know, you'd be out there burning poop or you know whatever crap we were doing at was it Patrol Base Razor, and he'd just be smiling and he always like have a joke about it. He's just one of those like infectiously positive dudes.
Yeah, it drove me up the wall, Turd Ferguson. I like him. Don't get me wrong.
Drove me up the wall.
He did. He just, man, from his positivity, like every now and then, I think that's when like the dark cloud for depression started to roll over me. Mm-hmm. When seeing his smiling face, I'm like, God, man, I just want to slug him. But he's a good dude. Like you can't hate on him like that. You want to slug him and then give him a hug. Oh,
you definitely don't want to punch somebody in the face because they're being too nice, because then you're like the ultimate asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember the SF house we were, you know, doing like guard at or whatever we were doing, and he and I were there, and we were both sergeants, and we had to take the trash out. He's like, "Hey man, let's take the trash out." And he's all excited about it. And I was like, I don't want to, Coy. You know, this isn't what I want to do. But he just made it like the most fun experience. Like we jumped in a pickup truck and drove trash somewhere. And, like, just a positive guy. I don't know. He's just one of those guys you always want to have around, you know, in whatever group you're in. Just to, because like, you know, Tyree, you said it, man. There's dark days, and you need that guy with a face that, you know, you kind of want to punch, but you also want to smile at too.
Yeah, right. You want to hear the dumb shit he's gonna say.
Yeah,
just because it's gonna make you chuckle while you think about slugging him in the eye.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely lightens the mood, man. When you have somebody that just is just whatever about it, you know what I mean? Like, fuck it, like, you know, this might suck, but like, I'm gonna make this dumb comment, and people are gonna laugh, and it's all gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was a positive thing for me, was people's humor out there, man. Like, it sucks sometimes. Like, it sucks out loud. And some of the shit that you're gonna be doing, knowing that you're gonna be doing some crazy stuff at some point, but you're doing it with your fucking friends, like not just some guys that you just met. Like, it's not a road trip with with some friends from high school even. It's like these guys. I can't even explain the kind of bond that we had together at that point, because we had been together for so long.
Yeah.
And now we're going out on these fucking patrols into this city where we're fighting. So your first time remembering contact, what was it?
Oh man, there's two times that come to mind that are pretty, I don't know if they're humorous or, you know, kind of anecdotal, but I want to say the first time you were near or right behind me, Tyree. We'd pulled up to an intersection, and I stuck my head around a corner. You know, I saw a guy, and he was just kind of standing there, and I looked back, and we were going to push across the intersection to the other side of the street. And when I stuck my head back around, he picked his AK up and sprayed, and they started shooting at us. So, you know, we all took cover. I was like, holy shit, that guy wasn't friendly at all. And there was a Bradley trailing behind us, and it was the PL, I think it was Lieutenant Gunther, and, you know, we waved them forward, and they came up to the middle of the intersection to, you know, cover us while we moved. And he pulls up, you know, turns his turret, faces, you know, the contact, and it's this day, I'm not going to, I'll probably say the words wrong, but he torpedoed a round out of the barrel. So, and I don't know if you guys remember this, he shot like, I don't know how many rounds, but he just kept like torpedoing into the ground. And, finally they kicked out the coax and, sprayed down. But we were getting ready.
I don't remember that. I was going to say, I don't remember that.
I remember the torpedo in the round, but I didn't remember that.
But I remember looking up at Lieutenant Gunther, or whoever, it might have been his gunner, someone in the Bradley looked down at me before we went across the street and they said, "Hey, pick those rounds up." And I don't know. I'm sure my response was like, "Go fuck yourself" or something like that. I'm not out here on a fucking police call. Yeah. And granted, I'm sure there were HE rounds that we didn't want to leave behind for the enemy, but I just remember it's just weird things like that go through your head. Like, no, I'm not going to pick up this brass that's on the ground.
My first thought is like, those are UXO. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not picking that up.
And I'm sure that's what they were
Put them in your
too.
Cargo pocket. Let's go.
But, my heart was pumping so fast. All I could think about is like, I'm not out here for police call. Leave me alone. But the second time, it was at the ODA house that night. We had the big contact of whatever. And me and Matt Wooler went to go out and get ammo in AT4s from one of the Bradleys. And the Bradleys were out, kind of pushed out past the wall. So we had to go to one of the concrete walls, and we were both standing there kind of, it was like a TV or a movie arguing who was going to go first. And, I was like, all right, Matt, you go first and I'll cover you. And then when you get to the Bradley, because the Bradleys were facing out, I was like, and then when I get to the Bradley, or when you get there, you point and, cover me. He's like, all right, man. So they opened that like back hatch of the Bradley. They didn't drop the tailgate. And, Matt ran. I was covering him. He dives in the back. He never covered me, but whatever. So I'm mad about that. I'm like, dang it. And as I'm running, I see bullets like kick, like, I don't know if it's bullets or what, but like sand kicking up around me. And it's terrifying. I dive in the back of this Bradley through that little porthole. And I look up, and I'll never forget it. He probably doesn't remember this to the day, but Sergeant Keith Goff, like, was looking out of the turret shield, like smiling, probably with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. And like, I'm terrified, but I see his smile, and it just like, and it's going to sound kind of weird, but it just kind of comforted me. Like, oh man, okay. Big sergeant smile, everything's okay.
Yeah. Billy D, man.
Yeah. The coolest guy in the world.
His whole family, everybody there.
Just an awesome dude. And I just remember looking at him smile and thinking, all right, we're good. Probably not going to die.
Yeah.
We came back, and then, I don't know, whatever we did for the rest of the night happened. But yeah, two times I remember is like that look he gave me, and then, hey, pick up that brass.
It smells like a warm woody.
Yeah, it was. So, that's a good way of saying it.
Hey, I'm hoping to see him next weekend, man, because he lives down there in the Tampa area.
Oh yeah, you should hit him up.
Yeah, yes, so I'll let him know that you said that his
Facebook or something like that.
Yeah,
hit up the family. I reach out.
Yeah,
I'll let him know that his smile is like a warm woody. Yeah, a warm, worn in, like hand me down woody.
Okay, yeah, that's a downgrade, I think, man.
No, that's an upgrade, man.
It is. You're right, because you get a whoopee like fresh out of the plastic, man. It is not really that comfortable.
It's stiff, yeah. So anyway, fuck all that shit.
All right then.
We're in Iraq. You're in charge of people.
Actual human lives.
Actual human lives. Like, what was it like? In the middle of, not middle of some of these slides, but what was the everyday life of being a team leader in the middle of a combat zone?
I will say, like, I've served in leadership positions from team leader to first sergeant in combat. And the hardest one was being a team leader.
Really?
And it's no one really teaches you how to be a team leader, right? I feel like, we have a lot of schooling set up for, staff sergeants and sergeant first classes and first sergeants, but like, you're learning on the fly as a team leader. You're kind of watching everybody else around you and just hoping you're doing it right at that point. At least back then, that's what it felt like. We're doing
right. Yeah.
We're doing a better job now, but what that was like was, it was terrifying. We talked about it so far on the podcast. We had good dudes. Mike Stamper. He was a great dude, had a great family. I don't think I could go back and like, hey, I messed up real bad, and Mike didn't get to come home. You thank God that never happened, but like that's a terrifying thing to think about. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, but I mean,
no, I mean that hit it. It's your feelings about dealing with being a leader in that kind of environment.
Yeah. It's like, so I kind of feel like you're saying like being a team leader is more personal. I mean, because you are like directly responsible for the folks that are, whereas like a platoon sergeant, for example. I mean, you've got your squad leaders; they have their team leaders. So there's definitely like some the chain of command there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, you're responsible for the overall performance, so to speak, of the platoon. Whereas as a team leader, like these are your guys, and like if they're ill-equipped, they're ill-trained, if they're ill-briefed, then they may not perform as well, and that will ultimately fall back on you.
That's a very eloquent way of saying that. Yes,
he has a way.
He does.
Yeah, actually, that's probably the first time anybody's ever said I said anything with eloquence. So I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Stitch that on a pillow, man.
Yeah, no, this is going on my calendar. Repeat every year to notify me. Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that.
I'll remind you too. I'll remind you.
Yeah, right.
You remember.
Hey, before we get too far, I feel like this needs to be talked about. So today we're recording on Monday. Typically, we try and record like on a Sunday and then push it out on a Monday. But why didn't we record yesterday, Tyree? I'm asking you specifically.
Me asking me?
Yeah. No, Kevin asking you actually.
I don't know. Why didn't we?
What was yesterday?
Sunday.
What was yesterday?
Oh shit! It was my birthday.
Yeah, it's in my calendar too.
Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah. Happy birthday. What how old are you now?
I'm 38.
Oh, you got a few more years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A few more years.
Still holding it together.
Yeah.
He's together. I've declared the other day he's making it to 82. Yeah. He thinks he's gonna make it at 60. I say 82. I want him to suffer a little.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I told him as long as I can still wipe my own ass, I'm good.
Yeah.
There it is.
So the second they, I can't wipe my own ass or, maintain the cleanliness of it at an adult level, I don't think I would want to stick around anymore. Really?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like at a certain age, you just don't have to care about that anymore. You just not care.
I think with technology,
so you would just be totally chill with just sitting in your own shit.
I feel like with technology and bidets now, you can kind of get away with.
Yeah.
You can add a few more years on your life as long as you can press the button.
Yeah, man. Just hose the whole thing out, man. They even got the ones with the blowers, the heat blowers, whatever.
Flabby cheeks.
Yeah, not to dampen the mood or anything. But yesterday is also the anniversary of Billy Jack's death. I don't know if if y'all knew that.
I saw that on Facebook.
That's what I posted.
Yeah. So that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, it's always a bummer, but what are you gonna do? That's life.
Billy was
shit lands on shit days.
Billy was another positive, like Coy, man. Like
he really was, man.
Just I don't know how tall he was, but he wasn't a big guy. But just carrying that 240, always smiling, like just an awesome kid,
dude. So we were in the field in Hohenfels, and I'll never forget this, man. This is an 03, right? And we're just fucking exhausted, dude. Like we're being pushed, to train. We're, there, and it's an intentional thing, right, to prepare us for the upcoming deployment. But we're just beat, man. And like, finally, we get some downtime. I say downtime as a dismount. Sitting in the back of the Bradley, waiting for the next follow-on is downtime for us. And so we're sitting in the back of this thing, and it's dark outside. We have the those like blue or green lights on in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else in there is just racked the fuck out, right? Like we're crammed in there like sardines, and everybody's just racked out except me and Billy. And Billy, so he was, like I said before, he was Kiowa Apache, and so he's sitting there telling me stories of skinwalkers as he knows them through his tribal stories. And even him telling me these stories, and these are supposed to be pretty terrifying things, right? Like, they come at you as, sometimes as owls, and you wake up with these marks on your body, or sometimes, disappearing. So it was a wild story for him to tell. But like, even as he's telling it, man, like he's got that half smile on his face, like he's just like, yeah, it's a wild thing, man, and that's my life. You know what I mean? It was just even so positive about that, man. Like Billy was definitely that guy. Like when things sucked, you wanted to talk to Billy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's always just he's that guy. There's really no other way for me to describe it. He's just.
You're right though.
I
was gonna say, go ahead.
I was just saying, I feel like that platoon, man. We had a lot of those guys. I don't know if you guys remember Jeremy Curtis.
Oh yeah,
there's another guy, man. Just just an awesome, like happy-go-lucky guy. Like I would always volunteer to do BP duty with him, like out on the Bradleys, just because he and I could sit there and talk for hours. I mean, just a platoon of good dudes.
I've never, ever seen Curtis pissed off ever.
No,
once or twice. Once or twice I have, but like his pissed off and like say you're pissed off, they're not the same, man. Like he's slightly unsettled. He might be like mad about it or whatever, but he'll still like fuck it. I mean, we gotta go do it. So it's whatever, man. And then that's that. You know what I mean? And like then the jokes come.
Yeah.
You know, the humor comes out.
I was roommates with him for like 3 or 4 days before they moved me over to Con with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool time. I think I have one of his thermal shirts still.
Yeah, I stole his Tennessee Titans hat. Well, I gave it back to him before. Actually, no way. I think he tried to like give it back, make me keep it, but like I tried to give it back to him. I stole it because it was fucking blue, and it made my eyes look more blue. And I was trying to like go out and do what single soldiers do in Germany, and so
praise Jesus.
Yep, exactly. Spread the good word, and blue eyes help with that. In a country like that, so
did it really?
I don't know, man. Do you have blue eyes?
No, but my eyes work pretty good.
Did they?
Yeah.
Did they?
I feel like Tyree fared pretty well over there.
I did.
Did he?
Yeah. Pretty successful.
I can't go any higher pitch than that.
You can continue to go higher, but you're going to get the same damn answer.
All I can give you. Yes, I know you didn't do terrible for yourself, but I do remember a certain trip to the Canary Islands and a certain individual that was up your ass for the entire week, who is now a very Googleable, searchable person on iTunes. Musical artist.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Justin Bieber. At that time, dude, he would have been like 7.
7.5. Being a weirdo.
Yeah. No, she's not really that popular over here, I don't think. But there was this pop star called September who had a thing for Tyree, man, for the whole week that we were there. Like she had a thing for him, and like he gave her the coldest shoulder.
Nobody knows the story.
I mean, no, I mean,
because I didn't tell nobody. So world premiere.
What? Well,
shit.
Wait! World premiere of this whole story?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here it is. Folks. Here it is. All 15 people that are currently listening, or we'll listen to this one. Our numbers just kind of dropped a little bit. But that's okay. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, and people can argue. I have pictures of us sitting at a table together, and her like, man, the look she had in her eyes, looking at Brown,
thinking, hold it together, girl.
Yeah, no, she was balls deep in whatever on you, man. But like, you really did kind of give her the cold shoulder. Like once we knew who she was, and then you were just like, you know what I mean? Like,
cause fame ain't shit, man. Fame ain't nothing.
I don't even think at the time she was like famous. Like I think she was known in her country. I can't remember where she was from, like Sweden or some shit.
No, because she was famous there. Because we were sitting at the table and people kept on fucking with us, trying to get autographs and like taking pictures. I got a funny story about that. So we're at one of those clubs, and I'm sitting there, and I hadn't really realized who she was exactly. And people kept on walking up and like taking pictures. And I'm like, that's weird. People generally don't.
That's not a thing that happens elsewhere.
Yeah, they don't generally come up and take pictures with people I'm sitting here having a margarita with. So, and it was one of those big long whalebones.
Were you
fucking idiot with the?
Were you confused that they weren't thanking you for your service? Is that what it was?
Yeah, completely overlooked me and my sacrifice.
Yeah.
And it was happening more and more, and people were coming up for autographs. And I'm like, man, who is this person? So all of a sudden, like, it kind of dawned on me. I got to look around in the club, and her posters up everywhere and shit. Like, she told us her actual name, but they were calling her something else. Mm-hmm. So she's like, "I'll be back," and she vanishes. Her whole entourage of broads, poof, they're gone. And then they pop up on the stage, smoke-filled stage, lasers, and she's singing her ass off. I'm like, holy shit, this chick is somebody. So I'm like, man, I can't be out here looking like this in the streets like this. I gotta hold together for my people, and
my people.
I can't be out here simping. What do I look like? Come on.
Well, first of all, simping wasn't a thing back then, but dude, like, you could totally.
Oh, it was totally a thing. We just didn't have a name for it yet.
Well, true. You're true. I mean, you're right. Because I was simping. I was like, dude, if you don't want her. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a hard week in Spain. You know what I mean? Like, in that regard. Those fucking whalebones, though, man. So we used to go to this fucking, like, every night we'd go to this bar and we order these like whalebones. You know what I'm talking about? Like the big, tall, plastic margaritas. Yeah. So we would drink those, man. And it got to the point like night 2 or night 3, we were like having races to see who could like chug it the fastest through the straw. And so once that was killed off, man, like we might have another one, or we would just carry those whalebones down to one of these clubs and we would just fill that up with Corona and just be drinking that all night, man. And that's what we were known for. We were so popular at that first bar that the bartender, our last night or our second to last night, brought us a Ziploc bag full of weed. Like, just
they did?
Yeah, you don't remember? You were sitting there.
I wasn't paying attention, man. I was drunk.
No, you weren't. We were not drunk at that point because we had just got there. And dude, full bag of weed. And he's like, "Hey man, you guys come here, and like you guys are super fucking cool, and you tip well, blah blah blah. Hey man, so I got this for you guys." And we're like, "That is really fucking awesome, but we can't because we're in the Army and it says no."
Yeah.
To this day, I don't know if it was a setup or if he was just being nice, but because you never know, right?
It was a setup. It was had some shit sprinkled on it. He's gonna knock us out, take our kidneys.
I mean, it's fine. So back to that the year before that when we were deployed. So team leader life was pretty I guess stressful and like what you were talking about before. But did you realize at the time like that it would be, or did you think okay, man, as I progressed through the ranks and the positions that like my role in combat operations might be a little easier the higher I move up?
No, you don't. Because like when you're doing the job, it's like anything, when you're doing it, it sucks and you think it's really hard. But like, kind of before the podcast this evening, I was I'd listened to a couple of the podcasts that you guys had throughout the day, and it just kind of had me reflecting. And I would say that was my roughest, like most stressful deployment because I didn't know what I was doing. And my, I guess, last one where I was a company first sergeant, I knew what I was doing. It was a little bit easier, less stressful. I had a lot more responsibility. The mission was a little bit more difficult, but I guess I don't remember what the question was, to be honest with you. But it was to get back. Yeah, I do remember the question. I mean, when you're doing the job, it sucks, and you're like, "Fuck, this is the hardest thing ever." But in hindsight, looking back on it, it's really not that hard. You go, you fight, make sure everybody comes back. Before you go out, you make sure everybody's trained and ready, and it's easy. And as you progress, you know more about it. You know what you're doing. Where and 20-something-year-old Rob Absher was just out there kind of guessing, hoping he didn't get kicked in the head by Bill Baggett or Herb Gill.
Man, and that was kind of the crazy thing, right? Because we deployed so early in GWAT that I think with us, in our whole company, we only had a couple of people maybe 8-10 people in the entire company that had previous deployment experience.
Yeah.
And our most recent one, we had Regan had come to us, I think from the 101st or no 82nd.
He's an 82nd guy. Yeah.
And he came to us. And I remember asking him like, man, what was it like deployed? Like you were in Afghanistan, right? Like what's that like? And trying to figure out, because we're what the fuck did we know? I mean, we went to Kosovo, we walked around in the Balkans for a little bit, but like, how does that compare to what we're about to go do? How does going to Graf and Hohenfels and Wilflicken and wherever else, how does that compare to what we're about to go to do? He was the only one that had any GWAT experience.
I feel like we had a lot of guys that were from Desert Storm, but I mean, hell, that was like a 20-minute war.
We had a lot of people sprinkled in with the already strong group we had. It was a really cool little mix of shit that we had going on. It really worked out.
Yeah, and I feel like all of our the few combat experienced folks that we did have were spread out pretty evenly. It wasn't like one platoon or one element that was heavier in that experience than another was, and that was cool too.
And at that point, like looking back on it, I don't know, just because I mean, what we were doing was pretty unique. If anybody was experienced, right? I mean, who had fought like that other than like Mogadishu, I guess, ever.
Right.
Yeah. The counterinsurgency aspect of it, we weren't fighting a uniformed army. We were fighting block to block. So like anybody that said they had experience in that was, kind of bullshitting you.
Right.
Minus the guys who were in OF1. So.
No, I mean, that's a good point too. I mean, so really, I mean, because even when you look at Regan going to Afghanistan, I mean, he had Afghanistan experience, but like the war over there was different. Did you ever get to deploy over there?
I did. Actually, it's cool you bring that up. So I deployed as a first sergeant with 82nd, and then a couple of years later with the asymmetric warfare group, I was in Syria, and like probably 400 miles apart from where I was, but a completely different fight, a completely different, enemy terrain. It's completely different based off the mission and the operation. So, saying you have experience in something is, I mean, yeah, you've got experience, but that's not the be all end all. There's a lot more that goes into it. So
for sure.
And that goes back to like having smart dudes, smart girls, smart guys to your left and right that can adapt and, just facilitate the fight.
Yeah,
smart
absolutely,
girls.
man.
So you're in charge of women at some point? How did that go?
I am, man. It's, surprisingly, it's not much different.
Yeah, it's really not. No.
Living space gets a little bit, different. It's not like how we were, running around butt naked in front of each other when we were.
Damn well the lower enlisted are doing that too, regardless of what genders are in there.
I keep my heads turned, but I mean, a girl soldier, a guy soldier, whatever you identify as. I mean, they're willing to stand up, point a gun at a bad guy, and there's not much difference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When
shit should have happened a long time ago. I mean, I think personally, exactly like you said, any motherfucker who is going to pick up that gun and watch my back all the way through to the end, it's fine by me, regardless of whatever you're into. I don't care. I could care less, man. As long as you're going to watch my ass, that's all that matters. I want to watch yours. Protect it. We're going to be okay.
So I was down at Fort Sill, the first year that I was mobilized on the trail, and for that bulk of the first year, it was male training environment, and then they went gender integrated, and we had one cycle come through, and then I came home, and then a couple months later I went right back to Fort Sill to fall in with another battery to do gender integrated training. And you get all these briefs about listen, you're gonna be dealing with females, blah blah blah. It's a completely different ball game. You got to mind your P's and Q's and do this and do that. And I'm like, if you just do your job, then you don't have problems. If you just go train your soldiers the way that you would train any soldier, then you don't have. So to me, the people that say things like, well, it's a different ball game, they're the people that probably don't need to be in those positions because they think it's a different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, when you start to treat your women soldiers differently from your male soldiers, or gay soldiers differently from straight soldiers, or whatever the case may be, then that in itself is kind of a violation of the EO policy, if you ask me.
You said you use the word ball game, man. The ball game's the same, right? The stadium's different.
Right.
We're still playing the same game. The stadium's a little different. The stands look different. The fans are a little different, but like we're still doing the same things.
Right.
And you hear guys that say, guys and girls actually that say you have negative connotations to it, but it's like, I mean, it's the same thing, 50, 60 years ago with the race thing. It's like, oh man, black, I can't serve with a white guy. Yes, we can. Don't be dumb.
Yeah.
It's the same with a guy and girl. We're just like, like we said, it's just pick up a gun, walk in the same direction as me, and let's do the thing.
My favorite
at the same
argument,
time,
though,
I want you to be able to pull your own weight too. I don't want to hear this bullshit like we're going to cut down the standards to make it easier for you.
Yeah. Well, and my favorite argument to people saying that like women don't need to be in combat arms is like, well, how is a 5'5", 140-pound female supposed to be able to carry a 6'2", 200-pound dude when he's wounded? And my response to that is always this: like, I am a 6'2", 200-pound guy, and when you put gear on that wounded soldier, it's going to be difficult for me to pick him up. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a lot. But that's why like we train in different types of buddy carries. That's why we have our litters. That's why like the body armor now has ways to be able to get a hold of them and pull if we need to. That's why we've changed the PT test to the ACFT, which has a sprint, drag, and carry, keyword there being the drag. That's why we've implemented a lot of changes in the Army to kind of train our soldiers to be better at these things. Mm-hmm. But like your average male soldier can't even do the tasks that you're saying that female soldiers should be able to do. It's just it's a hypocritical double standard. And but I think that the women that we are getting in these roles, like they're serving very well, and they're proving their point.
You know what? I've been around some females in the reserves. Not too bad. They know what they're doing, especially in the drill sergeant side of everything. I wasn't a drill sergeant, but I was around them a lot, and yeah, they took care of business. It was I didn't worry about what the hell they were teaching people because they're always solid.
Yeah, man.
Met the standard.
You stop looking at gender and you start looking at the soldier, and problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, we're way off topic. So you remember that time we were in Iraq? Hey, no, for real though. What was I kind of want to hear like your take on Baton Rouge. Definitely from a team leader perspective, but then, I mean, just looking back on it compared to like other missions or operations that you've been on, and like, just the impact that particular mission itself had, especially with the follow-on in Fallujah, and then, maybe if that had any influence on like future operations that you know of, or how it even helped you prepare for future operations.
Yeah, man. So one, I had a unique experience during Baton Rouge because I knew as soon as I was leaving, or as soon as we got done, like as soon as we got to our LOA, for lack of better terms, I was going to go to Charlie Company. That's what I think I went to. C Company. Yeah. Me and Matt Wohler were going to go be squad leaders in C Company. So I knew that was going to be kind of the last hurrah for us. But I'll say, like, looking back on that now, and I didn't know it then, but the Army treated that, or, First ID, whoever planned it, as a, like, kind of a combat operation. I mean, granted, we were doing all combat operations, but like large scale, to where we had a frontline trace, which is something we hadn't had at that point. We just kind of, went through a sector. And you ask how that impacted me later on. Like, I'd look back on that, just that one operation was, in the large grand scheme of things in the war, was small. But I look back on it, it's like, wow, man, like some of the stuff that we were doing then is, I'm learning from today. And, as a platoon sergeant, a first sergeant in combat, just those little things that I watched Sergeant Baggett do. I turned around and did as a platoon sergeant. Some of the things I saw First Sergeant Sims do, I did when I was a first sergeant. So, not just that operation, but the whole thing was a cool learning experience. Something, else about Baton Rouge, when I was in the Sergeant Major's Academy last year, you do a case study and they issue out like a battle to you. And I ended up getting Baton Rouge, which I don't know if it was coincidental or what.
Huh.
But like, they give you this narrative of the whole thing, start to finish. And like, it was cool seeing names like Captain Rockefeller in it. And I was like, holy shit, I know these guys.
That's crazy.
And it's crazy. It's history. And it's like, man, like, history come to life and you see it and, seeing people, in it. So that was a really cool moment in time for me.
Yeah. And
you're molded by that shit. You're molded by history. You are in that. You're part of history, and that you can never be taken away from you.
Yeah, especially when you break it down to like the lower levels. I mean, at least to the team leader level, like your name is just as much in there as Captain Rockefeller. That's really, and so they had no idea that you were a part of Baton Rouge.
I assume not. I mean that course isn't that they're not that in sync, to be able to figure that out.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
How wild.
Yeah. Kind of a funny story about that. I don't know if you guys remember when we got to the school. What was it? Giovanni, right? Was that the name of the school?
Mm-hmm.
It was like our first day there. I don't know if it was one of the Wooler twins or who, but we went up to the roof and there was an Iraqi flag. And I was like, oh man, it'd be cool to kind of take this down as a souvenir. So I ended up getting it. And the other dude that was up there, it wasn't one of the Wooler twins, and I can't remember who it was like, hey, I'm going to take this and I'm going to strip down naked and wrap it around my waist as a towel. I want you to take a photo of me with the city in the background. And I was like, yeah, man, that's a great idea. We'll switch off.
Totally a great idea.
Makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense with this whole open city that can shoot at us behind us. My dumb young sergeant logic, we did it. And I remember like taking the flag, stuffing it away, and I'm on this roof putting my pants back on and my shirt, and I look at the roof, like roof access door opens, and there's the first sergeant standing there looking at me like, why the fuck are you up here putting your pants on? And I just, I waved real quick, like, oh, hey. And he goes, what are you guys doing? I was like, oh, nothing, we're going back downstairs. Years later, I ran into you again and I told him that story. I was like, I don't know if you remember this, but here's what was really going on. I still have a picture to this day.
That's hilarious.
Man, that's you gotta let us have a copy of that.
Yeah. No, that's
right. Yeah.
It's sticking with me.
Put that on the internet.
Yeah. Okay. It's slapping everywhere.
Yeah, man. There's only a handful of things that I remember that I laugh about in regards to you when we were deployed. And I'm just gonna say one word, and maybe it rings a bell, maybe not. But bingo.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I cannot hear that word and not think of bingo in Iraq. And
I'm married now and I have 2 kids. And man, I don't know how long ago it was, but that story came up in front of my wife. Oh. And I had to explain it to her and she laughed. That was the funniest thing in the world. But yeah, and I guess, for the audience.
You don't have to tell it if you don't want to. It's totally fine. I get it.
Some things can be left alone.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't need to know everything.
probably for the best.
Yeah.
But no, when my wife found out about that, like just in shock, and then she found out who I was living with, and she was like, "Okay, that makes sense, I guess."
Yeah.
But yep.
Yeah, when you were talking about living in your chew with the Wooler and Koitoy and King, I was gonna ask about it then, but
nah, man.
No, but
don't do that. That's hilarious.
To this day, man, like I tell people, and don't get me wrong, I definitely omit names because I tell people, it's like, just so you know, like when we're in Iraq, like it's close quarters, like we're pretty close dudes over there, and here's an example of that. Because I don't have my own example of that.
It's just like, people talk about war movies and like, what it's like to be an infantryman at war. People always talk about, was it Band of Brothers and Black Hawk Down and stuff like that. And I always bring up the movie Jarhead, which was kind of like a before our time and a terrible movie. But like, if you want to talk about what it's like being a soldier deployed, the weird stuff that those guys did in that movie, like that's what a bunch of 20-year-old. Yeah, what a bunch of 20-year-old kids do when they're, away from home with nothing better to do, no internet, no.
Did you have you seen Vet TV?
It'll pop up on my Instagram once in a while. Yeah, I've seen a couple of those videos.
So they have the TV show that they ended up turning into a movie, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was called, what the movie's called. But it's Marines. Oh, A Grunt's Life. Yeah, that's what it's called. So Marines in Afghanistan, and what they did is they just combined all of the episodes into one big movie, and it really, really, really dials in on like the military humor and the military. I mean, because there's fighting in it, but like it's also like all these like the things that you're talking about, just all these random like talking shit to each other over like a situation or moments like bingo, or I mean just all kinds of things, man. And it really is kind of hilarious, and it's to the extreme version of it. It's like watching it, I'm like, I don't know if I can watch this. It's kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? But that's like the best part of it, because it is so fucked up, and like it's reality. You know what I mean? It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. But
I think it's really important that they sprinkle in that little bit of grunt reality into those stories. It makes it a little bit more relatable to us. It makes more sense. I don't think I can dig a movie where that I have those moments. It would be out of the reality.
Yeah.
If that kind of dumb shit wasn't there.
2017, I was in Mosul, and I was walking into one of my platoon like living areas to try to find the platoon sergeant to talk to him about something. And I walked in, and all the guys were kind of huddled around in a corner. And, I was like, man, what are they doing? And I walked back, and one of the guys noticed that I'd walked in, and everyone kind of jumped up. I was like, what are you? And they're all circled around this one soldier. I'm like, what are you guys doing? And everyone kind of moves, and there's this man, I don't know how old he was. He's had to be early 20s, like standing there, and he's got like American flag Ranger panties on, no shirt. And he's this little kid from somewhere in Alabama. So he's got this real like high pitched Southern accent. And I was like, hey, what the heck's going on? And then the platoon sergeant pops up, who's an amazing human being. He looks at me, he's like, oh, hey, first sergeant, let's go outside. I'm like, no. Like, hey, bro, what the fuck's going on?
It's too late for that, buddy.
And the kid, the soldier, this is like, first sergeant, they're teaching me how to. And then like everyone's like, shut the fuck up. And the platoon sergeant, we walk outside, and I'm like, hey, is there anything illegal going on? He's like, no. I was like, are you guys hazing that kid? And he goes, no. And I was like, all right, what's going on? And apparently, like a couple days before, the kid had found out his wife was having an affair with another guy, kind of story of being a soldier. So like any young man nowadays, he downloaded Tinder immediately, set his location to back in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He was going to set something up for when he got home, because his wife had left him. So, the platoon sergeant's telling me all this. I'm like, okay, so what was going on in there? He goes, well, he met a girl, and she asked him for a photo. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, she wanted a picture of his the lower half of the situation.
His what name?
And I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. And he goes, well, he went to the porta potty and took one to the porta potty. And then he told everybody in the platoon about it. And I was like, oh, geez, you can't do that. He goes, right? That's what I said. He goes, so we're doing a class in there on how to take a proper one. And he goes, so, we threw him in, some American flag Ranger panties and that. And you walk away, and it's like, you can't be mad, right? I mean, granted, it's inappropriate, and it's nothing I can be a part of, but like, that's just like being in a platoon, right? That's the cool shit guys do. It's like, oh, your wife left you? She cheated on you? Let me show you how to take a picture of your junk.
Right.
That's that brotherhood, man. So.
Man.
You never get that anywhere else ever. You're not never get it.
You're not going to get that at Amazon.
No,
man.
No.
Well, and I'll tell you,
half off.
I'll tell you, man. So being in the reserves, you're also a civilian, right? So I've had civilian jobs, and you just do not get that same level of connection, that same level of camaraderie and brotherhood in civilian employment. You really don't, man. Like I actually. I'm envious of you guys that have stayed in, to your 20 and beyond, because when you retire, your benefits are going to be great. But I feel bad because when you guys do retire, unless you have something set up to work with similar or like-minded people, man, like it's going to be a rough world. I don't know if you've ever thought about that. Sorry to break it to you.
I have between trying to clear CIF and like finding a job. I'm terrified to get out of the Army.
Yeah.
I lost I lost a poncho liner like 10 years ago, and that's what's kept me in the Army, trying to turn that in.
Yeah, right. Dude, when I left active duty, we had to clear CIF, right? So when we got back from Iraq, we had to switch our DCUs to the BDUs.
Yep.
And we had to do a 1-for-1 exchange on them, and they wouldn't accept a set of mine because we were on a rooftop. I was in the prone on a rooftop, and it was hot as balls outside, and the tar was like melty, and that whole uniform was just wrecked, like tar all over it. And the guy refused to take it. He says, "Can't take this. It's dirty. You need to go wash it." I'm like, "Dude, it's fucking tar. I just got back from the middle of Iraq. Like, what do you want me to do?" Yeah.
The absurdity of shit really got absurd at that point, and you're just it's hard to handle. Like, man, I just got done doing some extremely wild shit, and you give me shit about tar marks on my pants. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, dude. I had to pay for 2 DCU uniforms.
What's crazy is we had the Woodland Molly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I still have that. Like, it's still like I'm in my garage right now, and it's in a duffel bag right next to me.
Your IBA?
Not the IBA, but the pouches.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I still have that, and like it's still got the tar on it.
Yeah,
it's still in there, won't come off. And like I know in 3 or 4 years when I go to retire, I'm gonna have to pay somebody somewhere for.
Okay, man, you're a Sergeant Major. Just go get some of your soldier shit.
I don't think there's many people.
Hey, give me that.
I don't think there's many people left around with Woodland Molly gear.
Good point. I still have my my LBV from before we got our IBAs and stuff.
Oh man,
still got mine. Still got that green tape on it and everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, no shit. Everything is tied down like it's supposed to be. That's not a thing anymore. You can't make soldiers. I mean, like not on the trail anyway. We can't make soldiers tie shit down.
Really?
Yeah.
Tie downs are like it's a lost art, man. I was
really.
I was on a range the other day, like last week. And I looked down at this kid's rifle, and his optic wasn't tied down. And I was like, "Hey, how come that's not tied down?" And he looked at me like I shit on the ground. He's like, "What are you talking about?"
He was like, "What?"
I was like, "I don't know, like the 550 cord, you tie knots and shit. Like your squad leader didn't teach you this." And he goes, and he's again like looked at me like I was dumb. I was like, "All right, well,
squad leader, what?
What's this old timer even talking about? Man? Get the fuck out of here, Sergeant Major.
Get out of here so I can do my TikTok dance."
Yeah, no shit. Oh, that's the thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, 20 years, right? Like, how has the Army changed? I mean, I know we've talked a little bit about it before, but like, the soldiers have gotten smarter, right? And they're asking better questions than we did. But the Army as a whole, how has it changed?
I mean, we've gotten faster, right? And I think we talked. You can't hear?
Technology.
I can hear you just
okay.
fine.
All right. We've gotten faster. And we talked about that in the beginning of the podcast where, just
you guys might have to stop this one and come.
Okay. God damn it. You kick us out?
You can hear me? I can't hear you. I can't hear anybody.
I can hear you.
Give me 1 second, dude. I'm going to restart one. All right.
Nothing?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's his AirPods. Always technical difficulties.
Yeah. It's never happened on Joe Rogan.
I know, right? Of course, they're all sitting around in a room. Man. I love watching that one, man. Like, Joe Rogan has some cool dudes on there.
He really does.
Did you see the one with Marcus Luttrell?
I did not, no.
I just saw parts of it where...
For the third and final time, the ending of the Rob Absher saga. Hopefully, it'll be technical difficulty free.
Awesome.
Jesus Christ. What a fucking nightmare headache bullshit dumb shit. Hopefully Kevin clicks that link and he doesn't start complaining.
Yeah.
I should sound better now too because I got rid of the pods and I'm just using a wired setup. Finally, I tore my whole house looking for some.
I almost use my my AirPods, but my son stole them from me, so I'm stuck with a wired one.
All right, so we'll wait for Kevin. I actually have to do some editing this time. God damn it! Hey, I should sound better. I got a wired headset.
Yeah, you sound 1,000 times better.
All right. There you go. So, what did I miss?
We were talking about me being a Pogash reservist. No, so TPU is just a drilling reservist, like the 1 week in a month, quote unquote 2 weeks a year or whatever.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
We're a lot busier, especially this year. We were a lot busier than usual, probably because of the pandemic from the last year. We didn't really do a whole lot, but so like this year, we finally had like our best warrior competitions, and then I had to go to MP reclass, and then I was in uniform probably 4 months out of the year, which is unusual for a reservist. It's kind of a lot, but I volunteer for a lot of things too, because man, like that is one of my biggest regrets about on active duty is getting out of active duty.
Yeah. I volunteered for a lot of shit when I was in the reserves too. In the beginning, anyway. It was just different. It was something fun for me.
Yeah, it's definitely a different animal than active duty is for sure, man. But it's given me a broader perspective on fuck, man. We're invite him back.
Okay.
Oh, no, he's back.
You got me?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my audio just stopped. Weird. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Yeah. But no, man, like being in the reserves is kind of like I said, like broaden my perspective on like the total Army mission, I guess. Like, within the components.
Yeah.
Because in active duty, man, I remember talking shit about the fucking the nasty girls and the shitty reservists and how terrible it must be and blah blah blah, having no real experience with what they do or how they do it, other than when we were deployed, we had Charlie 2nd 108th attached to us, and they got a raw deal anyway, so that's not really fair to judge all of the National Guard on just their experience, but I mean, and considering what they had, I mean, I think they actually did pretty fucking well. All things considered.
They did.
That was my first experience ever working with the National Guard Reserves. It was like Charlie 108th, I think, and those guys were so professional. And kind of looking back on it, and then the way I looked at National Guard Reserves going forward is like, they're like us, where they have the military training, they have the military jobs, but they're also like normal, productive human beings. So there's like they're a lot more mature than us, is what has been my experience.
Yeah.
Well, and they typically have more to bring to the table, right? Because say like an infantry, a National Guard infantry company. I mean, a lot of those guys are probably going to be in law enforcement, so they're kind of used to working in uncertain / high stress situations. Yeah. But some of those guys might be construction workers or own their own construction company, or HVAC or plumbing or something of the sort. So when you get deployed, like those dudes are handy, man, because like they're literally handymen. I mean, they can do things, and we're just a bunch of drunks with guns.
Yep. Functional.
One of the there was I want to say a lieutenant colonel who was also SWAT with LAPD. And also there's also he was a SWAT officer who was killed in Afghanistan. He was also in SWAT. Those kind of positions are filled by a bunch of really cool dudes, and they put a lot out when it comes down to their abilities in a combat zone. It's crazy. It's crazy how many people you run into. Like, I served, and I'm in this high ass position in this other spot too. So.
Yeah, man. Cool. Well, I mean, I think one job helps kind of work on. Like, I mean, I got an opportunity kind of to work with 19th Group Special Forces, and a lot of their guys. I mean, the bulk of their dudes were some type of Leo. They're their group snipers were also actual snipers for some force somewhere. So I mean, they worked with their skills. So it's not like they were deploying when it's not like when they deployed, the only experience they had was pre-mobilization. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I talk about. And don't get me wrong, like I love Doc Skillen. Doc Skillen was great. And if I had to pick a medic to go back over with, I'd probably pick Doc Skillen. But at the same time, you know, you take a National Guard or Army Reserve medic, and more than likely they're an EMT or they work in a hospital and they're used to seeing day-to-day trauma.
Might be a fucking doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, yeah. You know, but you really never know. Like they probably work in that field in some way, shape, or form. So seeing like gunshot wounds or arterial bleeding and things like that, like that's not new to them.
I mean, you said Doc Skillen.
Mm-hmm.
It's an awesome guy. I'll never forget like him rocking a shotgun on patrols.
Oh yeah,
it's looking back like so it's an awesome dude, man. And like I don't know the proper words like bedside manner, bedside care, but like a really good medic, like a good demeanor about him. The right amount of tough, the right amount of, hey, I'm going to make you better kind of guy. But yeah, like I said, I forgot about him at all, but I haven't thought about him in years. And,
no, he really did play that line well. I mean, so he was definitely out there in patrols being one of us, but like when it came down to it, he was also Doc.
Rocking a shotgun.
I know.
Yeah. Being a fat ass, sometimes I call him that. Believe it was. I'm pitching all the shots from out here. Even though he's on the show right now, he was on the show before. He still peed on me, so I call him Doc Fat Ass, Doc Hippopotamus.
Man,
Doc Hippopotamus.
Doc Hippopotamus. I remember
that. It's heavy.
Oh my god. Yeah. We probably during that podcast probably should have apologized to Doc for some of that.
Yeah, you're right.
So Doc, if you make it this far in this one, apologies.
Sorry, man. Yeah,
my bad. Dog.
We were kids. We were children. We were children.
Yeah,
we didn't know no better.
We were
children.
But yeah, man. No, the reserves and the guard. I say all that to say that like. Like they do have a special place, and I think in the United States Army, they do serve their role well, I think, and it's kind of ironic actually. So like being in the drill sergeant community, we have our fair share of people that don't need to be under the hat, and but you go to active duty, the 4 bases where you have them, and then I guess all the AIT lands that have drills and. They're everywhere there too, and it's always cracked me up when we would go on those places, and you would hear it, right? People would be like, oh, "Fucking reserves," or like they'd be like, "You're a reservist? You don't look like one." What does a reservist look like?
Yeah, what the fuck are you trying to say?
Like because I do PT and like like I'm not a fat ass, like I don't look like a reservist. Like it is kind of funny that this far into the GWAT era that the reserves and the guard are still catching slack from active duty, but I mean it is what it is, man.
I mean that's life. Look how we treat the Navy, the Air Force.
Oh yeah, well they deserve it.
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
No, it's pretty. I was actually that kind of brought up. So I was talking to my mom earlier today, and we were talking about how people in the Navy, some are on boats and then some are on the land. Like you can be in the Navy for an enlistment or whatever and never go out to sea.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me. I think if I was going to join the Navy, I would fully expect to be on a boat somewhere. I was like, well, yeah, but I mean, it's not always the case. She's like, just like if I were to join the Air Force, I would expect to fly a plane. I'm like, Mom, that's a very small percentage of people that fly a plane.
Yeah.
But
that's a big jump. That's a big jump, dude.
But it reminded me of a conversation that you and I had not too long ago, Tyree, about like, if we're going to join the Army, we want to do something Army.
Yeah.
So infantry,
mm-hmm.
Obviously. Like nobody goes out and, hey, you guys want to play Army? Yeah, I'll be admin. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not a thing.
I'm gonna process everybody's leave forms.
Yeah, that's not a thing, man. I'll be S3. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Nobody
and
does
do
that.
it to the best of their abilities too. Like that's the kind of
Yeah,
that's funny.
Nobody's going out and playing MP. It's just not a thing. Everybody goes out and everybody has a gun. Everyone's a rifleman or a machine gunner. I was a machine gunner with my stick. And we're out there playing, army, and that's what you did,
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it stands to reason that if you're gonna, my mom thinking if you're gonna join the Air Force, you're gonna be a pilot.
Yeah. Makes
So I had
sense.
to explain to her, it's like, Mom, they have admin, they have dental, they have all those people too, cooks or whatever, it's a thing. So that doesn't make any sense. How are they the Air Force then? Like, yeah, that's a good point, Mom. That's a good point.
Like, hey, they got the Space Force too. Like, you ain't going to be out there in space. You ain't going to go touch Pluto.
They're all astronauts.
The whole lot of them.
Yeah, a whole lot of them.
The whole set. Okay, so where do we leave off with the story before we were rudely interrupted with technical difficulty?
We were talking about coins. Challenge
Goddamn.
No,
that was
no.
Blew like 2 hours ago. Blew my mind right now. I'm like, holy shit, we got to wrap this up. Give me an ass pucker moment for you while we were deployed, or any of your other deployments. Did you have?
Oh man,
by now.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, I asked pucker moment from that deployment, and it didn't even come from enemy fire. It was on the rooftop of the ODA house that day, and someone had brought an AT-4 round upstairs, and somebody handed it to a staff sergeant who's now a command sergeant major. I'm not going to mention who his name is, and he shoulders it, and I'm behind him, not paying attention, and he fires. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but he hit the power line.
I remember
20
very
meters
well.
in front.
I was on the ground running ammo.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I caught a piece of flame from the back of the AT-4 to my DCU top. Jesus. And I knocked me on the ground. And I remember looking up at the man who will not be mentioned. Not going to say his name. And the only thing I could think to say was, "You didn't say backblast area clear." And just being so angry about that, and my arm burning. And then I looked, and I'd seen he hit the power line. So there's a lot more to worry about at that point. But I remember just being scared and angry, and there's nothing I can do about it right now.
He had more casualties behind him than he did in front of him with that AT-4.
I'm sure, man. I'm sure.
I was running back from the other building when that hit the power line and hit the ground. Not expecting that at all.
I don't know if you guys remember. We were out on a TCP. It was very early in the deployment. It was nighttime.
Yes, and exactly what you're talking about.
And I shot the guy in the leg.
Yeah.
You were at a TCP, and I was on one side of the road, Billy Jack, and I want to say it was Bozil. I just remember Billy Jack on the other side. And this car, we flashed, he kept going, flashed again, fired a warning shot, and then I guess the warning shot made him want to speed up. And he sped up and drove past us. Yeah, and I remember pumping rounds into the side of the car as he was rolling past us to try to get him to stop. And he came to a stop a little bit past us. I remember going up to the car and seeing the guy was, bleeding from his lap. And instead of being oh man, let me run to this guy aid or, whatever I'm supposed to think about, pull him out of the car and, zip cuff him, I was like, oh man, I'm going to get in so much trouble for this.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. And I remember Lieutenant Gunther was a PL and him looking at me and he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, that guy's not though." And Sergeant Baggett came over and I was like, fuck. I'm the first guy to shoot somebody. It's this old ass man. I'm going to get in trouble. I mean, at the end of the day, he was obviously in the wrong. And I guess I did the right thing. I don't know. But I just remember man, I'm in trouble. So.
Do you remember towards the end of the deployment, we had a little detainee center there on Brassfield, and some of us got assigned to work there.
Yes.
Were you a part of that ever?
I don't know. Are you talking about out at the like MP ICDC station or like on
No,
Brassfield?
it was right on Brassfield. Yeah.
I don't think so.
I was a part of it. I had to work a shift or two there, and that guy was still there. This was 7-8 months into the deployment. Actually, I think it was after
I probably left
Uvalde or
then.
before. It was before Uvalde. It was before we went to Uvalde. It was while we were doing Hands Across the Desert. So this is five or so months. The dude was still there, had a brace on his leg, because he had surgeries to fix it or whatever. But they just kept him in detention the whole time.
Well, he's obviously a bad guy then. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I feel like if they retained him there for that long, he was probably not a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, why else would we keep him in detention?
Yeah.
No,
I was like, wow, you're still here. That's wild. What happened to your leg? And he's like, oh, yeah, I was driving. Like, this is the story that he told me through an interpreter. And I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah. I feel like I heard about that. Crazy.
Tragic.
Have a good one.
Tragic.
Yeah, that sucks, man. That's the wrong place, wrong time, I guess. Anyway, have a good one. Bye.
I feel so bad for you, man.
It's funny.
Zoom your lips over there.
Years later, however many years later, in 2017, like, I had a kid that did something stupid out in the sector, and I looked at him. I was like, I was here as like a sergeant, like a young sergeant, and I'm here again as a first sergeant. You know why? And the kid's like, no. And I was like, because the same dumb shit you're doing now is the same dumb shit I did back then, and all we're doing is perpetuating a cycle. It's just dumb guys like us, that we keep, so.
Yeah, that was where we kind of left off, man. Is like like how you thought the Army had changed from then to now, man.
That's right. Yeah. And again, I said in the beginning, like, guys are smarter, and we're a lot better at a lot of things, but we're still, we're suffering with some other things. Obviously, a lot of the stuff we suffer with is in the news right now. But I think. The Army is a sample size of our society, and the things that our society struggles with are the same thing the Army struggles with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, the Army's changing with society. As society's becoming more accepting of certain things, like the Army's right there with it. So,
you don't think we're a little behind in some things?
I 100% do, man.
Yeah.
If you look at the suicide rates in the Department of Defense right now, in the Army in particular, I mean, they're high. They're higher than they should be. Obviously, one is too high, but and when I say we're behind, I mean I don't know how to fix it, but I know, like, me being a 40-year-old man, I can't fix an 18-year-old kid's problems,
right?
And I think that's kind of what we tried to do. I don't know what it's like to be an 18-year-old infantryman, in whatever unit a kid's in, because that's not my mentality. I didn't grow up with Fortnite and TikTok, right? So, and I think we're trying to fix a problem set with kind of some older methods. So when you say if we're right there catching up, I think we're a little bit behind, but we're working towards it, and I think we're getting better. Better than we were when the three of us were serving together.
Yeah. Well, I think I had mentioned it in a previous episode, but I just had a drill not too long ago, and it was a battalion-wide drill. We're a bunch of satellite companies, so we're not even all in the same place. So once a quarter, twice a year, whatever it comes out to, they bring us all together as a battalion, and we do our our classes, sharp classes and suicide awareness and all that stuff. And I guess this year they had revamped the suicide class, suicide prevention and awareness class, and it is the exact same information, different PowerPoint slides. And I kind of made the point that you're not fixing the fucking problem. Like a PowerPoint slide, putting everybody into a room and then having somebody talk about what's on the slide or reading it from a piece of paper while they look at a slide is not the answer, man. Like, that's not what's solving the problem. That's to me, that's the way, that's the Department of Defense or, whoever the shit, that's them acknowledging that a problem exists and slapping a Band-Aid on it. Like, we have to go above and beyond that.
I mean, but it's not even a Band-Aid when it's just a PowerPoint. It's just statistics being thrown at you about suicide. I don't want to hear that shit. I want to talk to the motherfuckers who feel this way, you know?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. So the new class is basically all about intervention. You know what I'm saying? Like, talk to your people, like interact, blah, 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 have a conversation with them, so on and so on, which is cool, right? But that's what we already do. But that's not where the problem exactly lies. Not for soldiers in the military, at least. I mean, maybe a handful of cases of folks that are still in find themselves alone and isolated, and maybe if somebody were to approach them and ask them, hey, how's their day going, you know, what's up with you, blah blah blah, like talk to them like they're a human, then that might sway them from that path. But you know, when you talk about suicides after somebody leaves the military, once they transition back into the civilian world, I mean, those rates skyrocket, and it you know, no amount of like, I mean, that's part of the reason we're kind of doing this too, is like so we can kind of stay connected and tell that stuff, right? Because you know what I mean, like we've all been in these positions at one point or another, and it's just nice to hear, fuck man, I'm not the only dickhead feeling the same way. Yeah. But you know, I mean, for these other dudes that don't have that, I mean, I got a message today, same message as before. I don't know if you heard it in previous episodes, but like a couple of Marines had been tuning in and listening to us, and they were super excited that they were like, fuck man, like these dudes are talking about like, and I guess they were listening to us talk about it, and they felt comfortable enough to talk about it, you know, like they didn't know that they could, or something to that effect. And it's kind of, that's awesome. And apparently one guy in that crew, thanks to, and I say that like, I try to say that as like humbly as possible, but like thanks to like our previous episode where we talk about like suicide prevention and all that stuff, or suicidal thoughts and all the stuff that falls with it, like apparently like he listened to the episode and like it kind of helped him get to a better place mentally, where he's able to talk to his friends and they could connect on some level. And fuck man, like I can't express enough like how awesome that is to hear, dude. Because you're right, as like you said earlier, like one suicide is one too many, right? And we are way and so I don't know, man. I don't know what the fucking answer is, but I know it's not a goddamn PowerPoint.
It's not. And like you said, for the active duty, it's easy because we have. It's not easy, but you know, we have systems in place. Like, you know, every soldier's got a team leader. You've got your bros. You know, you've got that network that you can reach out to. But for me, man, I'm terrified to get out of the Army. And it's something I'm pretty open with. Like, I don't know. You know, I don't know what I've never left active duty, and it's a void that I don't like. I'm terrified of. I was talking to my wife the other day about it, and I compare it to, you know, like the end of a Netflix series, or, you know, a show that you watch. Like, I mean, we all watch Game of Thrones, or, you know, whatever show, and the season's over, you know, the episode's over, whatever, and that's it. There's not going to be another one. And you're like, fuck, man, no more Game of Thrones. And I know it's like a really trivial example, but, you know, a couple of years I'm going to retire, and that void, that emptiness that's filled my life, that, like, you know, I don't know, represent my country on the biggest stage that you can imagine, and not having that anymore terrifies the shit out of me, to where I'm going to be. So it's, I don't know. I'm glad there's things like this podcast out there, and, you know, social media. It's where you can like text your buddies or whatever, and just kind of catch up every once in a while, because it's awesome.
I would say, man. So I mean, like I said earlier, like, you know, being, you know, leaving the active duty reserves, blah blah blah. I'm mostly a civilian, right? So I've had a lot of civilian jobs where you just don't have that same connection with people. Like you might work at a place with another veteran, but you know, it's not always the same thing, or it's just that one guy or whatever. So like, you know, you two hang out, but then like you're kind of isolated from everybody else, blah blah blah. So, but I got offered a job to work at an ECS down at Fort Chaffee, and it's a MilTech job. So like I have to be in the reserves to do this job.
Wait, which means explain what those are.
So Fort Chaffee is a base in Arkansas. Elvis was there. And then ECS is an equipment concentration site. So basically all like military vehicles that a base may own or be in possession of kind of goes through there, cycles through there, gets fixed there, gets assigned to units when they come there to train, all that stuff.
Okay.
And so I just got offered a job to work there. So all the guys are miltech, which means, military technicians, you have to be in the Army Reserves to work there, which means that, I have to stay in the Army Reserves. So I'm at 20 and a half years in the Army right now. So I'll have to do another fucking 15, which is fine because it's the reserves.
Yeah.
But everybody that works there is also in the Army. You know what I mean? They've all deployed. They've all done something. They've all been somewhere. And, a couple of the guys from my unit are there. My first sergeant works there. Another drill sergeant buddy of mine works there. And then 2 other folks that used to be in my unit that were drills work there. So that camaraderie and brotherhood or that family vibe will exist there. And that's something that I craved. And I was going to say, man, for you, when it does come to retirement, man, like you could totally be that dickhead retired sergeant major who works at CIF. You know what I mean?
It's really about the relationships you make right now because, that time is ticking.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's not as scary as you think it would be to step outside in that open outside world.
I think it's a matter of expectations, right?
Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine that was a recruiter for JB Hunt, the major trucking company in the U.S. And he was a military recruiter for JB Hunt. And he told us that he got this like retired lieutenant colonel who contacted him, or he had contacted her, however that happened, and was like, so the guy made demands. He was like, okay, here's the deal. I'm a retired lieutenant colonel. You know what that is, because I know you're in the Army also. So I will accept a position no lower than vice something or other of a company. And he was like, well, you know how you went in the Army and you started as a fucking, maybe you were enlisted, probably, or a butter bar, and you worked your way to where you were. The same thing now applies in the civilian world. The guy's expectations were way too high going into it, and I bet you that guy is probably still struggling. I mean, this was a couple years ago, so he's probably still struggling with, that transition.
Yeah.
It's just managing your expectations for what the civilian life is going to be, man. But the cool thing is you'll have at that point, if you retire in a couple of years, you'll have 24, 25 years in the Army.
Yeah.
So you could go do whatever you wanted to do.
Walmart greeter.
Do something that you love at that point. Something that you love. You love the military now, I'm sure, but do something that you love so that way that next career that you take on will be something.
You could
that's something that.
Go ahead. I was going to say I have an idea. You could host a bingo night.
Jeez.
You know what I mean?
Christ, yeah.
Just a room full of people.
Man, there's a name for that, and I don't.
Yeah, it's called bingo.
Yeah. Oh man, that's hilarious.
Like VFW bingo.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude.
Bunch of creepy old men.
Hell yeah, man! I'll come to your first bingo night. Yeah. As a spectator. That's worse. That's worse.
But Jesus.
Yeah.
Ultimately, man, just do something you love, and that way work never seems like work, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. What are your hobbies?
My hobbies now, man. Gosh.
I know you're dialed into your kids a lot.
Yeah, I try to spend as much time with my kids as I can because I'm gone so much from work. With deploying or field or TDYs, that any opportunity I can, man, I just want to make sure my kids are well-rounded and normal, so I spend time with them. Mm-hmm. But for myself, dude, I don't know, I work out a lot. I ride my bicycle. A lot of just random old man stuff, I guess, now at this point.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, man, I want to keep my daughter from, being a dirty girl, and I want to keep my son from following around dirty girls. So
yeah, and being a dirty boy.
And being a dirty boy, just trying to balance that out at this point.
Hey, man, that action shot you got of your son playing football, what was it, last week?
Oh, yeah.
Did he make that tackle?
He got the tackle. Yeah,
that kid was like 4 times the size of him.
Dude, it's like my son's small. I don't know how tall. He's less than 5 foot. I think he's like 4'10", 4'11" at this point, and all of 63 pounds. And we get out there, and these kids are giants. But what he has on his side is, before we were here, we lived in Maryland and in the Baltimore area. So he played the hood before we got here. So he's tough. Like he's a tough kid.
Yeah.
Love watching him. That reminds me of something.
Yeah.
That reminds me of something, Johnson. I remember, so you talked about on the last episode, you played high school football. You played like outside linebacker or something.
Yeah.
And I remember you spearing people. And like, I remember we got like a crop of new guys, and it was like Dougie Fresh or somebody. And I was like, dude, you should go spear that new guy. And like, you would do this like massive, like run and dart towards dudes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Glorious. Like I sat in the parking lot of my headquarters this morning in my pickup truck, laughing my ass off thinking about that.
I'm laughing now.
Dude, yeah,
man, I remember that shit.
me and Peeps used to go back and forth on it, man. I got him once in the field, dude. Fucking laid him the fuck out, dude. Oh. And then he waited. He camped on me for so long. We were in Kuwait. And we had our Bradleys kind of parked out there in the sand outside, kind of, where our tent was, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like it's dark outside, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking to somebody. I don't remember who I was talking to, but like all I hear is like the boom, 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 across the sand, and then Peeps just laying me the fuck out, dude. Like I'm completely blindsided, dude. That was the end of it.
Like, it was like
got me good.
It was like a feat of physical amazement to watch you do that. Good Lord.
Do I think about that shit now, though, man? Like, there's absolutely no way that my body, like, I try to stay physically fit as well, and like, I just feel like my body would like hurt from doing that.
Like, you would go completely vertical, and just, and it was always like, and I don't know, looking back on it now, I shouldn't have done it, but I was like, you'd be a random new guy, and be like, dude, you should spear that
guy. Yeah, I speared a lot of people, man.
That was great.
And you got to think, man, like at the time, I wasn't a heavy person, man, but I was still 6'2" and probably just at 195. You know what I mean? So a long spear,
just running at poor Dougie Fred,
full speed.
Yeah, man.
I remember the sound, the sound of the chest.
That's that dumb shit, man, that I like to remember. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's funny. That's awesome.
Oh man.
Or like I got somebody in a fucking a rear naked in formation. They're just sitting there smoking or whatever, minding their own business, not doing a damn thing.
Jeez, you're a fucking terrorist.
I mean, it gets worse. So I get them in a rear naked, and they put their fucking cigarette out on my arm, or my hand, or my face, something like that. And just to get me to get me to let go. Dave, dude, we were in Kosovo, man. Like him and Haugen were like throwing the football back and forth, and they threw it at me. So I just didn't hold on to it. So Dave tried to get the football from me, and he got me to rear naked, wouldn't let go. And I was about to pass out, and I eye gouged him. Yeah, man. I've been pulling knives on people. Like I remember slicing open Billy Jack's BDUs.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah.
Was that at the McDonald's across
the street
from Edward? Yeah, I remember that. I'm just sitting there looking at y'all. Look at these crazy white boys.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean,
doing the craziest shit.
But it's kind of that stuff that we're talking about, man. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. I like it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Wild times.
I appreciated it.
Yeah.
So let's move on with the story.
All right.
We are back. Fuck it. We're landing back in Germany, and we're in Germany. What is the feeling what's the feeling that you're feeling knowing that you're out of that combat zone for now?
So I remember the bus ride back, and I feel like you were sitting right behind me, Tyree.
I might have been,
because I'd gone over to Charlie Company, but when we flew back as a gaggle.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember like being on that bus ride back, thinking about like, man, I'm gonna drink Schweinfurt dry tonight. Like it is gonna be bananas.
Yeah.
And I remember getting back to like whatever, I don't know, we were as a basketball court or a field, wherever we were at the
Basketball
reintegration.
court.
Yeah, the reintegration ceremony. And I was standing next to Matt and somebody else. And like, you know, they were like, all right, you're dismissed. And, you know, family members came up and hugged everybody. And I remember looking over at Matt and being like, well, all right, man, I guess we're going to get drunk now.
Yeah.
And it was that moment of like, well, we don't have anybody, but we have each other. So
Yeah.
let's go paint the town red.
No, I was just gonna say, man, I have my memory of that is like, you know, like the big welcome back thing, blah blah blah, and then go see your families, and then like those of us who didn't have any families, single soldiers or whatever, we're just standing there like my family's in Arkansas, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody here to greet me coming back from Iraq.
Yeah,
but you know, I'm not the only one, and like you said, let's go get fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what it was, and that was. I mean, that was cool.
I don't think anybody.
It would have been nice.
I don't think anybody like had a good night that night though. Like I don't. Like we all went out with expectations of like it's gonna be crazy, and then you know, 6 beers in, and
yeah,
like,
you just
I'm ready for a nap.
Yeah,
I just want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, you know, in the were you weren't staying in the barracks at that point, were you?
Nah, I was out. Yeah.
Yeah, we. I remember in the barracks, the refrigerators in the rooms had beers for us. 2 beers.
Yeah.
Yep. 2 beers each.
And so shout out to Rear D for hooking that up.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely remember feeling a slight buzz off of those 2 beers.
Oh man,
that was a long year.
I was trashed. The best part about that whole thing for me coming back though was that bus ride. It was like, man, there's nothing on the road's gonna blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was bouncing around from seat to seat. I was taking pictures. I got to look at everything else I have somehow, but it was just the feeling of, man, there's nothing to worry about at this point. It's done.
Yeah.
And all these faces that I remember, you know, it's just everyone that's here, they made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the fuck is going to happen from there, but that shit's done. That was a feeling I had. It was just like the most peaceful feeling I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I don't know, is this even real? You know what I'm saying? Because that was kind of a long year, but when you're on that bus after the plane ride, you're like, okay, well, I feel like that I was just here. That ended pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But like, fuck, so much had happened. All these things have changed, and my mental state, you know, where my head is at, it's a different place completely. It's definitely that's definitely a time to sit there and kind of ponder on some shit. But I definitely was looking forward to getting shit faced.
Yeah.
I think, and again, like you're saying, man, your mental state changes, and it doesn't matter if like, you know, you got shot at every day or you didn't get shot at all. Like something about you changes on a deployment. You know, you're away from everything. Everyone goes through something on a deployment that changes them. So when you get back, man, like life's different. It's not the same. So.
No, and I try to. This is one of the things that I don't understand about people that practice like stolen valor. Like, okay, they were in, because a lot of the cases they were in, they served at some point. Or maybe the, you know, dudes that did deploy but like didn't really do a whole lot, but they always come back with like these crazy war stories. Like they got to understand, like, just because you didn't go out and do what everybody thought or expected you to do doesn't mean that you didn't go over there and do something most people didn't want to do. Mm-hmm. And so there's something to that. And so there's no reason to come back and be lying about shit, man. Like, or to fabricate stories to make you look cooler. Like, just telling somebody that you deployed to Iraq is still kind of a cool story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, people have to double their stories. People have to make their shit sound better than everybody else somehow, for whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I mean, right, man. You know, because everybody wants to hear the combat stories. Nobody wants to hear the rest of the shit, which is why movies like, you know, Black Hawk Down or Band of Brothers and all that stuff, like, why they're so popular is because it is all the combat stuff. But Actually, I think Black Hawk Down for a portion of it, kind of that part where they're I cannot remember their commander's name.
Colonel
where they're making
Steele.
fun of him.
Yeah, Colonel
Yeah.
Steele.
Well, they were making fun of him, and Colonel Steele pulls him over. I think it was he Colonel in that movie at the time?
I think it's Captain. Yeah.
Yeah, Captain.
I haven't seen that movie in years.
And he pulls that young specialist over. He's like, "What are you doing there, young specialist, whatever?" But like they're sitting there like making jabs at the commander. I mean, and that's pretty typical. But like most of those movies, people aren't watching it for that. You know, they're watching it for like the action, for the tracer fire and the explosions and the this and the that, all the things that fire up their fucking dopamines and all that bullshit. But like, so when it comes back to I served X amount of time and blah 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 blah, that's not as cool as being like, oh man, I was in combat, I did this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nobody cares about bingo.
Yeah, nobody cares about bingo. But that's the thing, is like there's no reason to lie about that stuff, man. Everybody does their part. And just because you weren't in a place to do things doesn't mean that like you still didn't do something cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's when mental illness comes in. That's mental illness. That's what that is. That's not. I mean, that person in their head is cracked, and they need to beef up their story because they don't feel it was good enough to impress folks.
I mean, yeah,
it's what is that narcissistic thing.
Yeah, it's definitely it's unnecessary is what it is, but it is what it is though, man. So you don't have to like really, because I know for me, when I left active duty, I came home and I had no military support, and all that stuff, and I had an uncle that was in Vietnam. But other than that, like I really had nothing, man. So like I really started to feel the struggles of that transition, and like PTSD type things flare up, and I felt extreme guilt for leaving active duty. Actually, like extreme guilt. But like how? I mean, did you ever deal with anything like that? Like staying active duty, like going from a unit to unit?
Yeah, man. You talk about the guilt from like leaving a unit.
I mean, just all that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you develop that like connection, right, to the guys you're working with, and when you leave, when you PCS somewhere else, especially after deployment, knowing that right around the corner the same guys are going to deploy again, it's rough. So yeah, 100%. I unfortunately, like I said, I was a first sergeant, and I had to leave my company during the middle of a deployment to go be an HHC first sergeant, which was like the worst time of my life. But yeah, I mean, we were in the middle of a fight, and I got notified that, hey, you're going to a different company. It's a promotion. You should be happy about this. It's like, no, man, like these are my bros. Like we've been together fighting for 6 months. I don't want to leave. And there is that guilt, like, tomorrow I'm going to get on a helicopter and I'm going to go to a different base, to a headquarters company. And, these guys are going to go on patrol and, God knows what's going to happen to them. So, yeah, I mean, it's still there. Yeah. So it's something you,
I guess in those situations though, you can probably take solace in knowing that, like, I mean, especially considering how you are, I mean, like you can take solace in knowing that like you did the best that you could to make sure that they were prepared to handle what's ahead of them.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And that, I know that's not always enough, right? Like when I was, and I think, I talked about it before, but when I was on the trail for the first time in 2009, the average deployment time after completion of training was 2 months. And so I took it personal. I was like, okay, well, the only real training they're going to get is going to come from their drill sergeants. And I have, experience in this kind of thing. And so I felt it was my obviously it was my job, but like I took it personal. I was like, I need to give them as much as I can of what I know. But then you graduate the class, they go on to their AIT, and then you just kind of wonder. You sit back and wonder, man, like, man, I hope they all made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you ever looked?
Yeah, no, I actually got contacted by a mom of one of my fathers, who was a combat medic with the 101st, and while he was working on a soldier, he got hit direct impact by an RPG. He lived. The RPG didn't detonate, but it fucked up his arm real bad. But she found me on Facebook and contacted me and was like, "Were you so and so's drill sergeant?" And I was like, "Yes." Who is this? And she told me who she was, and told me the story. I was like, "Holy shit, man, this is wild." And then so and you remember what was it, 2011, when President Obama called victory in Iraq and ceased all combat operations, but then like the next day, like 3 soldiers died.
Yeah.
One of those was mine. So it is a personal thing. It is really weird to hear, to know that those things are happening. But I mean, at the same time, like I said, like you kind of take solace in knowing that like I gave them as much of me as I could, and I did the best that I could in ensuring that they were as prepared as they could be going into that situation at their level. So, it is what it is, man. Yeah. But and that's the nature of the military. That's kind of part of it. But yeah,
it's rough. It's one of those things that it is what it is. It just sucks about the military, man. Like you make some of your best relationships and connections here, in the military, and then 3 years go by, and it's like, all right, time for me to go make some new ones.
Yeah.
That constant cycle. And then, hey, how does that work with you and your kids? How many times have they had to pack up the house?
So for my daughter, I mean, she's only 4, so she's not really feeling it. But my son, man, he's getting ready to turn 13, and it's hard. I mean, he's moved. Gosh, we were in Italy, Fort Bragg, Maryland, and now we're here. So that's a significant amount of moves for a young kid to go through. And it makes them resilient. Certain things you could see, like it bothers them. Like, when I called him from El Paso and I told him like, "Hey man, we're not going to get to stay in Maryland. We're headed to the West Coast." He was depressed, but at the same time, he's resilient. I hope, as much as it sucks now, it helps him later in life to be a more resilient, flexible human being and more adaptable. Yeah. He doesn't end up being a saw gunner in the infantry like I was.
Yeah, no shit, right? But give him 5 years and he'll be. Hey, guess what, Dad?
Yeah,
coming back from Mets with his first 11 Bravo contracts. Like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I met this cool guy at the mall.
Yeah, right.
Told me about this bonus.
Yeah, he had a uniform just like yours. Way less shit on it though.
Man.
Yeah, but and you got to think about it too, man. Like the family dynamic in the Army. You know what I'm saying? Like divorce rates are stupid high in the military. So to have a strong family dynamic, because you have to, right? Because like I feel like with all the moves, with the deployments, with the op tempo, schools, training, etc., like the family dynamic has to be a good one, a strong one. Otherwise, there will be struggles. I mean, there's still going to be struggles, but
I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, man, if I didn't have that. And I think like anybody that's successful in the military has figured that out. Like my wife, like I joke around with her all the time, but like I couldn't function as a human being outside of work if it wasn't for her. Like I don't know how to pay a bill. I don't like. I barely know what grade my kids are in half the time. But she kind of keeps everything together, and she has a career. She's crushing right now. But yeah, man.
So she's definitely like multi-hatted, I guess you could say. Like, I mean, you're living the Army life, and you're doing what you got to do because that's a huge responsibility, especially at the Sergeant Major level.
Yeah,
and and she's caring for the family, and then she's also on top of that, like you said, having her own career. So I mean, yeah, man.
Yeah, like. Every ceremony I go to that I get to talk, like, and I have to thank people, like she's always the one I thank, the most because like, we joke around about like, the Army spouses being the hardest job in the Army. That's kind of like a joke, right? But holy shit. Like I couldn't imagine, I come home one day and I'm like, hey, I'm going out of town for 2 weeks. So figure out your schedule. Sorry. I mean, she's out there crushing it. So, and she's not the only one. Every wife that's making that happen is is just as amazing as her.
Yeah. Does she go around post telling people that she's a sergeant major also?
I was just thinking the exact same thing. I was just thinking the same thing. Like, you could get her a T-shirt or something that says, "I'm sergeant major. I'm the wife of X, Y, Z." Did you do that? Please tell me you did.
Hilarious. I did not.
Telling soldiers
You
stand up for dress for her.
So what's funny about that is, we didn't get married till I was a staff sergeant, and she's never really like felt the pain of being a military wife. Like, yeah, she had to deal with me being a drill sergeant, and we went to Italy, and she got to live that life, and so she's been pretty disconnected from it for the last few years. We are around like military families that are like that. She doesn't understand it. She's kind of standoffish to it. But I tease her all the time and call her like a dependopotamus. Got to give her a reminder every once in a while.
She's gonna hear this, and she's gonna be like, "I have power," and then
wait a second.
I have the power.
Y'all were married when you were a drill too?
We got married right before I hit the trail.
Yeah. Fuck, dude. Like, so newlyweds before you hit the trail, man. Good Lord, bro.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, when I was at the academy, they said that the drill sergeant community has the highest divorce rates in the Army, which understandable, right? You got to be able to. Your drill sergeant's got to know when to turn that shit off. Like, you're not at home like barking orders at your wife or husband, but some people are. But I couldn't imagine. I am not a married person, or I'm single. No, but like I've never had to go on the trail or deal with that while also being a drill sergeant. So like, because I have a couple of mobilizations as drills, and I couldn't imagine, man. I could not fucking imagine what that would be like for a newlywed couple. Crazy. No, congrats to y'all for making it.
It was hard, man. We were a newlywed, and my first or second cycle, I ended up. We got pregnant. She got pregnant. I guess I did a little work there.
Yeah, a little bit.
You showed up.
I showed up to the game. So we had a baby during that time. So it was man. Being a drill sergeant sucked.
I love it, man.
It was terrible.
No, I love it, man. So when did you get your hat? Do you remember?
2008.
That's when I got my hat.
Was it? Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I could join in. This is when I joined the police academy.
You can't join in.
I'm butting it. I'm jumping in. Damn it.
No, yeah, I got my hat in 2008, and I'm still. And so that's another thing that, like, man, I used to feel like a kind of a. Fuck, man, I've been in the Army for 20 and a half years, and I'm an E6 drill sergeant. You know what I'm saying? Like I look at like you, and like you're like a sergeant major, like Gil, like he's a sergeant major. And like Coy was a first sergeant. You know what I mean? But like, it's also the reserve, man. It's a lot slower, and I also was really pretty hesitant or resistant, I should say, about reclassing my MOS, because 11 Bravo in the reserves just doesn't really go anywhere at all.
Right.
No, you don't.
No, but I mean, it is what it is. They finally got me to reclass to 31 Bravo this year, so should be moving along, I guess. But I actually I love being a drill, and I say that as a reservist, knowing that like I'm going to go for a short tour sometimes, and I'm going to go home. You know what I mean? But like, I volunteered for all of my MOBs because I like doing it. Now, being almost 40, man, keeping up with those kids,
it's hard,
dude. It's going to be a struggle. Yeah, we have a mission next year to do a full cycle. I'll turn 40 on it, and yeah, so I'm gonna start preparing now, man. It's like preparing for like the Murph or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, gotta start a year out to get ready to go deal with these fucking 17-year-olds. Yeah.
Oh man.
But it's good though, man. I'll tell you what, like that is like, I mean, I've had the opportunity to do a couple of things in the reserves that are pretty fun, pretty rewarding, blah blah blah, right? And I mean, being a drill though, man, like like week 3, week 4, their light bulbs kick on, and you're like okay, so they're kind of getting it now. You know what I'm saying? They start to go into auto private and kind of know what's expected of them, and And then you remember them when, on day 0 when you pick them up and they're just all ate the fuck up, just hot and exotic, all wild and all over the place, not knowing which way is up. And then 9 weeks later, or you probably did 11 Bravo OSET, right?
No, I was at Jackson, man.
Oh shit. Okay, so different world completely. Yeah. So yeah, 9 weeks later, when you're about to graduate them and send them off to AIT, like some of them are doing the Frankenstein across the stage, but like for the most part, they look like they know how to wear their greens and or their blues, whichever uniform. And it's like, dang man, like I had a part in that. It's crazy.
It's one of the only times that I can remember in the military where I've seen a finished product.
Yeah.
If you look at like training events and everything else, but like at the end of it, you can see like, hey, I did that. Like that kid is going to be awesome. And it's because me and like 3 of my bros, like, put forth effort and made him or her a warrior or a soldier, whatever word.
Member of a team. Yeah.
Member of a team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's
man.
Fucking awesome. That's awesome.
And you get the parents and they're like, I don't even recognize my little Gerald or whatever their name is. And ma'am, I don't know who Gerald is, but I'm sure he's one of these bald kids running around here right now. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna guess it's the chubby one over there.
Now, I gotta ask you on that note though, like when you did have your shitbag soldiers, right? And like mom and dad goes up to him and was like, how did my little so and so do? Were you honest?
Yeah. So I mean, if they made it to graduation, no, I was like, oh, they're great. They're gonna do great. You guys did a great job. But I always loved the ones that would call when their kid was getting kicked out. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the soldiers and like the ridiculous stuff they do to get kicked out of the army. The parent calls and they're like, how come you can't make my son or daughter a soldier? And it's like, I can't do in 9 weeks what you failed to do in 18 years.
Man.
I never said that to another person, but that's just that. Like,
that's what it is.
I have 9 weeks. You had 18 years.
Yeah, I can't unfuck what you did.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like open your child up, flip a switch, and they're automatically going to be a soldier. There's some foundations that I feel like a person has to come with. We obviously do a good job of instilling that into people, but at the end of the day, there's strong parenting that goes into it as well.
Yeah, man, for sure. No, so I had a couple of them, man. I remember the first kid, the first unit that I was attached to. I got farmed out to the active duty unit to my first cycle, and they ended up he wasn't kicked out. He was recycled. It was a recyclable event, but he wasn't allowed to graduate. And they found contraband in his wall locker. They found porn, like full on magazines, right? And so the dad of the kid apparently was retired, something or other. And the first sergeant had been in contact with the dad because the dad was in contact with the unit. You know how that goes. And so the first sergeant chose to not tell the dad. And this happened like right before graduation when they found it during a health and welfare or whatever it was. And so the kid was going to get held back. They had the graduation. They did the whole thing. Well, he wasn't a part of it. And so at the end of it all, first sergeant brought dad and mom over and brought the soldier over and says, I want you to explain to them why it is that you're not graduating today and why you're being recycled to a different company. And man, spectating that was pretty great, man. That kid dropped his fucking head as low as it could go. And mumbled it, dude. His dad lit his ass up, dude. It was insane. It's hilarious.
That's great.
Yeah. Come on,
that's man. Part of the reason I want my son to ever join the army because I don't ever have that conversation, like, oh man, you're a dirtbag. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
How am I part of this?
Yeah.
The family name.
No. And now I'm staying at parade rest in front of some staff sergeant because my son, was wanting to look at dirty magazines.
Oh man.
Yeah, and then that first sergeant's like, man, I can't fix in 9 weeks what you could do in 18 years.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
All right. Well, okay, so we gotta wind this down, folks. We're having a bunch of fun. We're having all kind of technical difficulties.
You are.
Yeah, I am. Anyway, thank you for coming on our show, man. I had a lot of fun.
Oh,
I'm
bro,
sorry,
thanks for having me, man.
Sergeant Major. That sounds fucking crazy. That sounds insane. But
it sounds crazy hearing it. Sounds crazy hearing it, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. I appreciate you guys doing this, man. This is awesome. Listen to it and bringing back all the memories and like thinking about all the bros that we had the opportunity to serve with is just kind of, I don't know, it's just a cool experience. So, as much as you're thanking me, I want to thank you tenfold.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
You have no clue, man. You have no clue how much we sat around and talked about trying to do this thing
for years.
Yeah, kicked it around one way or another, in different variations, and we just decided to pull the trigger, and it's been helping people, and that's fucking out of control, man. That our little conversations about dumb shit, bingo halls and whatnot. I still don't know I don't even know what it's about, but
I'll tell
little inside jokes going on here. But little conversations about crap like that is giving somebody a reason to smile when they're going through some shit, and that's fucking dope, dude. I love it. Hey, I need you to order people that you are in charge of to listen. Order them.
Got it.
So that way, these numbers go up.
Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah.
Make them listen, and then on the back end, we'll have something for you. I don't know.
Yeah, well, a bingo night. No, for real though, man. Like, dude, it's been good to talk with you again, man. It's been a long damn time, man. I mean, random comments here and there on Facebook, Instagram, whatever is this or that, but like being able to sit down and talk, man, like that's a whole other world. It's yeah, man. It's definitely good to hear you talk again and trade stories, dude, for real.
Yeah, and it's good to see you doing good, and good to see the family's doing well, and there's something that Blue Spader is rubbing off on you, and it's been implemented in multi-facets of your life.
Yeah, man.
It's here.
Multi what, Tyree?
Multi-facets of your life.
Did you say fascists or let's try it again?
No, I'm good.
One more time?
No, I'm good. So, thank you for listening to Before I Forget. Y'all have a good one.
Hey, like, share, subscribe.
Sure. Like, share, subscribe, share. Tell people, play it in your gym and in your car while you're walking with your big radio.
And send us pictures.
Yeah, send pictures. We want to see that shit. Let us know what's going on with it.
Yeah.
All right, y'all have later.
Goodbye.
Later.
Later.